Intention of justice is to see that the guilty people are proven guilty and that the innocent are freed. Only we have a problem here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are taking a look at this case from a psychological perspective. Thanks to Corey Hopkins. We've got everything from audio and video.
We were able to get our hands on text messages between John O'Keefe and Brian Higgins that we never, ever saw before.
Haha. And Jameson and Ginger.
These are messages between John and Higgins going back to November 24th. So they've been friends since November 24th.
Takes 26 and 17 seconds. John O'Keefe's phone starts moving. So what I basically am showing you is that Lank is arriving to the scene with John O'Keefe's cell phone.
John O'Keefe says to him, "What's up, pal?" John O'Keefe says, "We're going to hang out. Where you drinking?" Not like, are you drinking, but where are you drinking? I think some of these guys might have an alcohol problem.
So I'm just responding to a scene now.
I'm just responding to a scene now.
So the emphasis there is on, I'm just getting here now. Yep, I wasn't here before. I don't know anything about what happened before now. But I'm just getting here now. You can't even make it up.
Well, I think we put forth everything that we could. We made our argument in court. I believe Ms. Reed's been entitled to her cell phone. The prosecution filed a last-minute motion to stay Judge Trump's decision to deny the search warrant. They filed that yesterday. They want to get her for something. They've already failed once in front of the grand jury. They presented evidence trying to say that she conspired to intimidate witnesses. They failed. They couldn't even, this wasn't even a ham sandwich.
Oh, I know what will get us the win. Ask Rich about his fucking ham sandwich again.
To talk about the taillight.
Road has been plowed.
Was found out.
Is not down to the pavement.
The pieces that we see shown during the trial as these are the pieces, the initial 3 pieces. 2 of them look close enough.
Someone had it that wasn't John, that wasn't Kerry, it wasn't Jen, and it wasn't Karen.
Sonny barks if you walk by my window and sneeze. The CERT team is brought in. They don't actually check the lawn at all.
That picture. Okay, a fire hydrant.
I can't tell you who had John's phone at 6:02:41 when it begins recording 417 clear pocket states.
Right there, you can see a shadow being cast on that piece of paper. It looks like it's a flat piece.
Yeah, 100%. They're not the same.
This is the one that he holds up, and that is him doing so here, right? This is his blue glove.
Left behind her dildo. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's now 5:46 a.m. and we know that Kerry Roberts insisted on going back to John's house. Can anyone decipher what they were saying? Okay, here we go. We have more video from John O'Keefe's Ring camera.
Well, yeah, Tully and fucking Muriel once said they want to comment during route. I said, how the fuck are you getting in? And then they're just going to get food and hissed.
Yes, if you have been following the saga of the unknown mystery man, then you will know that this mystery man is not just crucially important because of his apparition, quote unquote, into the middle of a live video frame with no explanation, in the form of edited videos that stretch the blur box specifically around this man's frame until he walks out of the light of the Canton Police Sally Port.
So, testify that. So,
And showing solidarity, you can see them there.
It's about getting justice for John O'Keefe. There clearly is an issue of integrity.
How dare they?
Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yay. This is our Friday nooner with my co-host, Loophole Lawyer. Welcome to
What
our
an
Friday
opening.
show. Was an opening, right? There's a lot going on.
Someone went to an editing school and then probably worked for a major editing / radio show.
Yeah, someone did. That's right. Yes. And it was actually fun to make this open this morning because there's so much going on. I could have put a lot more in there too, but I just wanted to grab like the key bits. So what do you think? I mean, we got this huge document dump, right? Huge. Biggest we've gotten so far, I think. What's your takeaway?
There is so much information that we now have, not only new information, but the raw data with regard to the videos. That's crucial because now we can really pick up and see the entire waterfall. And I read something from my good buddy Kevin today, and he was questioning the waterfall video, but now he has the entire video and he still has questions. But it's important now that we watch not a conflict between Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. We have to watch, obviously, Brian Patrick Higgins and everything going on at the end and the beginning, like you pointed out. So that's critical. And then I did a video on the text messages. What is your take on the new text messages that we've received?
I mean, it's funny. I guess it's interesting to see John and Brian Higgins interacting the way that they are, right? They do kind of have this bromance thing happening, but it does track with everything I already felt and believed about Brian Higgins and about the way he felt about John. Just because I never saw aggression. He walks into the waterfall, he gives him this giant hug, and all through his interactions with Karen, you really get the feeling that he does not want to, like, I know he's still talking to Karen, but you really feel the sense that he doesn't want to screw John over. So much so that I think that's why he doesn't hook up with her when she comes for the drink at his house. So I'm not surprised, but it is interesting. And it's reminiscent of earlier days when I think you get caught up in kind of like the whole bar scene, right? You start going every weekend, you become a regular. It's like, I don't know if anybody here remembers Cheers, but it's like you walk into the bar and everyone's like, hey, you know. I feel like they were all kind of getting caught up in that. And that's sort of what probably attracted Karen largely to Brian Higgins in the first place.
Yeah, and I never was so into the bar scene except for when I was in college and law school. And I remember texting just started to come out, and one friend would be at one bar and you say, are there any girls there? And then 20 years later, you have kids and you can't do that. But we're seeing men that are doing that. And I didn't realize that John O'Keefe and Brian Patrick Higgins were friends prior to this major event, the Pats football game. They were friends months before. And when I say friends, you're right. It's built upon their love of alcohol. Is John O'Keefe, and was he an alcoholic? I'm asking.
I hate, John O'Keefe is dead, right? And the last thing I would ever want to do is speak ill of him in any way, shape, or form. So it's hard for me to want to like use that label in a sweeping way. But certainly Paul meets all the criteria looking back at the things that have happened before, car accidents. Karen bails him out. He has a long history. He was drunk when he testified the first time. It's kind of well documented. It is very much real that people that have these Irish genes, they really do have a predisposition to become dependent on alcohol. So what it surprised me, he would be what we would classify as a high risk for having a substance abuse problem, at a very high risk. But all these people would, to be fair. They all would be.
Yeah, and generally I don't necessarily put it on a particular group like the Irish. I put it on their environment, how they were raised, not so much necessarily how they were born, right? And obviously that's a debate that's never been completely settled, but you always have
I'll
to
just tell you though, from working in the field, that if you have a first degree relative who has a substance use disorder, you are 60 to 80% more likely to have one. So what I'm basing my opinion on is not like, just conjecture, it's genetic research.
How about you and your personal family? Not you personally, but your parents, grandparents, were there any alcoholics in your family?
My father's family, there's a lot of mental health stuff.
Well, yeah, they're Sicilian. I know that.
Right. Yes. And they were many of them were doctors. So they had access to medications. Yeah. So you could imagine how that might have gone. But
no, I can't. A Sicilian doctor?
Yeah, they were all I think it was like their my great grandparents really felt when they came over that they needed to change the reputation of the way people thought about Italians, and so they forced everybody to go to medical school, whether they wanted to or not.
What happened to Mr. B then?
He tried. I think he was there for like 2 months.
Mr. B was in medical school?
I think my mom could verify exactly how long. It was like weeks. Literally, they sent him for like weeks, and he didn't last longer than that.
And for those of you who don't know, and I'll brag for him, Samantha's dad is an uber famous, uber successful
That's crazy.
He is radio broadcaster in the New York area, which is the largest market in the entire world for sports. Her dad really is someone that is admired by a lot of men that love watching sports and listening to sports. And I told you, I listened to your dad a long time ago, but I'm letting you know that it is odd to hear a Sicilian doctor. See, all the Italians I know were guys, real men that work with their hands, and my grandfather owned a gas station, and those were the type of guys that I know. I didn't have any alcoholics, Sam, in my family. No one drank in any of our events. There was no one that was always like stumbling drunk. But once I had an uncle that got married, and like the blended family, finally I saw like an alcoholic, and it was unique as a kid to see. But growing up, my parents didn't drink anything. They never drank alcohol at all. I drank, but not to the excess that Brian Patrick is. And I think what we're seeing now is their mentality. And they were both in their 40s. They don't technically have their own kids. I know John has the adopted kids, but psychologically, it's nowhere the same as having your own kids, having raised them from 0 to 10 or whatever it may be.
I'm sure it's different. Yes.
It's completely different. And he was free probably when they were younger. Obviously, he wasn't their adopted father yet. So
I think 3 or 4. I think the little one was 3 or 4 when he took over. The younger one.
Yeah, right. And you know that like from 0 to 2 years, especially as a woman, you're giving up your entire body and life for the rest of your life. Obviously, as a mother, but. But there is a difference. You don't have the opportunity as much to hang out at bars like these guys were doing.
Definitely.
But you were coming down hard on me for utilizing these new texts as something that's revolutionary. And I think that to me, I didn't understand that Brian Patrick and John O'Keefe were friendly for months prior to this happening. And why I said it was because I didn't think that Brian Patrick was actually hesitant about his betrayal of John O'Keefe. I just thought he was insecure about Karen, and I was wrong about that. I do see that there was a bond between John and him, and I was thinking to myself, of my guy friends, who could I possibly do that to, meaning betray them and hook up with their wives, even after they were divorced? I still wouldn't do it. Like, I've never done that.
But he doesn't either. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like he has multiple opportunities, and he passes probably twice. We could argue whether it's 1 full pass or 2, but I think he has opportunities, like even more than that, because I think Karen asks him to meet for a drink another time, and he can't because he's got his work vehicle. So he has multiple opportunities, and she even says to him at one point, I'm an adult. Like I'm in my 40s. I know what it means when a guy asks a girl to come have a drink, right? So she is telling him what she expects from him. And he knows. Actually, you brought this up, which I thought was interesting. You had mentioned in the text, in the video that you had just put out, that in the beginning, he asks how she got his number. Karen asks Brian. And he essentially wants to know, like, did you tell John that you're talking to me? Right? I forget exactly the way he phrases it. But to me, the reason he was asking is because he wanted to know what her intentions are. Are we doing like this threesome, like buddy thing? Or is this something that you're doing behind John's back? Right? So I think he's weary from the start.
He is. And obviously he's shocked. And this is a friend. I put myself in his situation. If I was approached by my friend's wife / girlfriend, given their relationship. They didn't know each other from high school. This is just recent, but it's significant than just having met 9 days ago, which I always thought was the case. They were really texting and chatting. One critical aspect is the stopping of the texting right after the kiss.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one thing you have to recognize, because they were friendly, but Brian Patrick stopped texting John after that morning, and that was it until we know at 12:20 and 48 seconds when he did it while it's at 34 Fairview. So what's your interpretation of that?
So that is a big one. That's something that I think we have to look a lot more closely at, right? First, because it says to me that John was angry about it, that he was suspicious of it. Remember, Karen tells us that. Like, John was like, oh, pulling up the video, what are you hooking up with him? So on one hand, it tells us that John maybe was a little bit like, what the hell is going on here? Even if it wasn't entirely conscious, even if it was in the back of his head somewhere, it meant that he wasn't texting Brian, right? He wasn't reaching out. And they were going out that night. So he could have, in the past, you could argue that he might have theoretically been like, hey, we're going out, right? And he didn't. On the other hand, Brian didn't text him. That makes perfect sense because there was guilt. And you get that from him, soup to nuts. I mean, he emanates guilt more than anyone else involved with the situation. It's oozing out of him. Even Kevin told us that he saw that because he said it was for a different reason, because he had his first aid kit in the Jeep and that he could have saved him if he had seen him on the lawn. Whatever. Either way, you can see that he feels guilty about all of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I didn't mean to put that heavy question on you, because we have to analyze exactly how long the breach was in terms of their silence. But I believe from the 15th is the Saturday up until that last text message, there is nothing between them after they text in the morning. So Brian Patrick, what are you doing? Are you trying to focus all your energy just on Karen? Because we know you're really texting her a lot, but not even placating the relationship with John, which is something I could say like I've done in my life before, where not I'm necessarily like I'm friendly with the person, but if I was having an affair, well, this is like before you get married, but like if you're cheating with someone like and their boyfriend's there, then you would know to kind of keep the same game going. They completely stopped talking.
I know. And you could argue that he was preparing. You could make the argument that in his mind, he was preparing if Karen did make the decision that she was going to like actually leave John and start, dating him. You could argue that he may have been psychologically and literally preparing to pull away from John to make that more feasible for him.
Yeah, that's actually what he was doing, because it's odd to say that you're friends with someone, but then if Karen gives you the okay clearly, you're willing to basically start dating your friend's girlfriend. And how dumb and odd that would all be in that small town, but you're willing to do that. So you're right. That's probably why he stops communicating with John altogether.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, and I would love to hear about from the chat on this too. Do you think that those text messages make it more likely, or likely at all, that what Brian wanted was to get John to 34 Fairview to tell him about the interactions with Karen?
I don't know. I always said that's not a guy thing to do unless your back is up against the wall, not literally. I think they were destined to come to some physical contact, obviously, based upon Brian Patrick's actions as he's leaving the waterfall, and then the text message. And then the question is, does John know, because he does, when he's going to 34 Fairview, that he's going to a fight? Does he know it? Now, Kevin,
I don't think so, but go ahead.
My new best friend, Kevin, questioned Karen Reed and her attorneys. If this was such a big deal, why did no one mention it in the first trial? And then why didn't anyone get to the band member that was standing there? And why didn't Karen insist that there was a conflict? And I think there's multiple
And also, by the way,
answers.
Nick sees it. Nick is sitting there too. In fact, the person in the one waterfall video, somebody zoomed in, they cut him out. But when you look at the waterfall video at a higher, you back up, actually the person that John turns to after he does the little dance, after Brian signals to him, is Nick Kolakithis. So whatever happened there, Nick may have seen it.
Yeah, and Nick is not a tough guy like the normal Greeks that I know. He's an attorney. His wife is a doctor, or not a doctor. What do they call that when you prescribe the medication? A pharmacist. And he and everyone else was unaware of this. And I believe Karen was completely unaware because it was only within seconds that Brian Higgins snapped. It wasn't all night. It wasn't as if there was a conflict. John had to have been confused. His good friend stopped talking to him. And you're right. They would bond. They bonded over drinking and going out and showing each other's his pictures. Oh no, they're drink pictures, which is probably equivalent somewhat, right? If you really analyze, look how big my drink is, and look.
I also wonder if they were invites. Now I'd have to look back at that, but like I know that when Karen did it, also to be fair, like Karen was taking pictures of the Smirnoff Ice. Like the reason why. Listen, back when I was 20 years old and maybe even a little bit younger, we won't go into that, and I was in bars like that, right? I might have done that. I might have taken a picture of the new, like the Zimas when they were new, and like, if I could have at that time, send it to somebody and be like, we're out at the bar drinking. I wonder if part of those or some of those weren't just invitations, like, hey, I'm at the bar, we're at the hillside. I don't know because I didn't look at them closely enough.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. We're in a different age, but with regard to electronics, but you're also in a different age category. These are grown men in theory.
You're right.
They're in their 40s. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because, as I said, as guys age, they lose friends, just the way it is. And there's really no way for us guys to get friends unless you're sort of bonding over something. Usually it's like poker or drinking or some sort of vice. And it's okay what was going on. But now that we know that it was going on for so much longer between Brian Patrick and John O'Keefe, to me, the silence speaks much more. The silence between Brian Patrick and John O'Keefe.
It does, yeah. Why do you think, I think I have some sense, but why do you think none of these texts came into the trial? I mean, you would think that the defense would have wanted to bring them in, but maybe it gives Karen a motive too. I don't know. Why do you think they didn't come in?
Yeah, and I had sent you a text that it would probably harm both sides, but I didn't really think about it so much. But if we think about it, they may have thought that this was all irrelevant initially because of the way Karen was not pushing Brian Higgins. And these were obviously embarrassing to Karen. They're not necessarily detrimental to her, but she was okay hearing this stuff. She's very mature about hearing it. What she wasn't mature about was being a client that is fully disclosing everything to you, even if it's negative. And that's a hard thing to do. I understand it. I have it happen to me. I've been in that situation where you just don't want to disclose everything and you're supposed to. Like when you go to therapists, I went once, I remember when I was like, God, it must have been like 20 years ago. And I'm trying to impress the guy as opposed to being open, right? So then, like all Italians do, we had a family fight where my mom wanted my sister, myself, and her to go to a therapist. And I said to the therapist, I called my sister a cunt. And my mom looked at me and was embarrassed. But I'm like, at this point in my life, I understand. I have to say the word. I can't spell it out. I have to say it and then like figure out why I said it. Like this is the whole point of it. And it happens a lot in an attorney-client relationship where this client is a type A client that you have. A lot of times we call them a pain in the ass, like type A in this situation. Just calling it what it is. But they make you better because they go through every single doc. They don't just rely upon what you say. And this is very important as an attorney, especially at their level where they don't have a huge staff behind them, meaning Alan Jackson and David Yannetti. They didn't because they missed this waterfall video. And Kevin's right about that. They completely missed it in the first trial. Completely.
They did. They missed it.
And if you're trying to prove this case, having someone taunting John O'Keefe, going like this to your head, I don't care, Kevin. Kevin said, because he owned the bar, if you've seen a bar fight, you know what they are. This was a different type of fight because Brian Higgins was torn. He didn't want to cause a scene, I don't believe there. What he was doing was very quiet, but very, very critical. And he's telling John to come here. There's no one else that he's pointing to.
No, he was pointing at
someone's
John.
head. Yeah, I mean, this is, let's go outside. The guys do.
I don't know if he was saying let's go outside. I mean, I know you're sold on that. I'm not.
Oh, I'm not. Tell me what you think.
If you look at both Nicole and Brian Albert Sr., right? They're both there too. They're pointing and they're like, let's go. Come on, you're coming with us. It may have just been an invite. Now, John does react in a specific way. Like he's like, yeah, he does react. And people have made a lot about that. And I also wanted to mention this. I think Abacus Flinch makes a tremendous point here. He says, Vince and Sam, don't forget Karen and Higgins performing for each other at the waterfall. Put that in the context with the text messages. Thank you so much. And that's a huge, huge, important point. Right. That's another piece to this. So, yeah, if we're putting that on top of it, the thing is, she doesn't text back. So the question is, I guess for me, is he angry at Karen as he's walking out of there and wanting to tell John? Because he's like, all right, you know what? This girl's messing with my head. She's not texting me back. She's coming around the bar. She's flirting with me. Every time she drinks, she's all over me. I don't know what to make of this. Does he kind of snap and say, screw it, I'm going to tell John? Does he maybe plan to get them alone and tell and confront them both? Like, what's up, guys? That kind of thing. I don't know. And the other thing I would say about it is I just don't know if I see Higgins as the aggressor. I don't know if I can see it that way. I know what I know the point but it almost feels like he wants to talk to him and not like he wants to kick his ass.
Yeah. And you brought up this to me privately that John O'Keefe very well could have been the catalyst in this. And initially, Brian Higgins could have just been defending himself. And the mortal wound on John was never the intent, and I'll never say that it was, by Brian Patrick Higgins. Any frontal injury was the intent. Whether it was in defense, Brian Patrick, and you have to make this square with your life eventually. You will have to make your representation. You're going to defend and say that it was self-defense, but when John was knocked out unconscious and then hit the back of his head, that's where the crime's sort of going to take place, because could you have saved them in that situation? It's an interesting legal question. Let's say that John O'Keefe goes to punch Brian. Brian punches him, and then John goes unconscious and hits the back of his head. If he dies right there, is Brian Higgins liable criminally? It's an interesting question.
I don't think so. And that's why I get so frustrated that they didn't just tell the truth. Because to me, two cops like this who basically can run, circles around all these other cops, why wouldn't they have just said it was self-defense? All these people saw it. Like, they would have walked. It would not have even been probably a charge. So I don't understand why they didn't do that.
It's a scary proposition for a guy. That's why I try to avoid fights. It's not necessarily about me getting hurt, but if I hit someone and they hit the back of their head, I know this for years now, that's where everything could go wrong. You're never going to kill someone with a punch to the face. It's not possible to kill someone. It's hitting the back of your head, which is so fragile for some reason. So they made a choice. So far, it's worked out for them. They didn't even have to admit to it. Brian Higgins made this choice that I'm not going to admit to anything. I'm just going to deny it. Now, in doing that, he exposes himself to all of us. The way you feel when you watch Brian Patrick Higgins testify
is so bad.
It's so bad. I know everyone wanted to put everything on Colin and Chris, but if you can't tell the difference between Chris Albert and Brian Higgins testifying, then this is not your game yet. You still got to work it up and figure it out, because there is a major difference. You don't have to be great like Sergio, but you have to understand the whole macro environment of a witness. And Brian Patrick and Brian Albert are just two that you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But Colin is lying his face off, and Chris is lying about the important moments. I think most of what Chris says, you're right. There's not a whole lot there. It's pretty benign stuff. There's like a few pieces, certainly the timeline, getting home, when he got home. the question for me is, it's not really a question of whether they're lying about it. It's just why? Who cares? Just say Colin was there. Who cares if he was there or not? The fact that they went, it's just like the Commonwealth doubles down. And because they're constantly doubling down, they make themselves seem so much more guilty than they may actually have been. But that's the problem, is we can't tell, right? And because we can't tell, all we see is Colin just like, I can't remember. I fell on my knuckles. I mean, Colin's story is outrageous and ridiculous. And he refuses to say anything right from the start, even about really silly questions like, were you at your friend Mike's? And he's like, yes. Then they're like, well, was anybody else there? He's like, I can't remember. It's like, okay, wait. He just doesn't want to bring other people into it. They're clearly protecting others, which I guess I get to a degree, but it's like, this is perjury. This is making you guys seem more guilty. Who cares? Nobody cares about your friend Mike and the other kids that were at that house. But they're so protective of those stupid details that you can't tell the difference between a lie is a lie. And from our perspective, it's very difficult to tell the difference between some stupid white lie over who was at Mike's house earlier 7 hours before anything happens, and then what is actually happening at 12:10 and 12:15, right? So that's the reason why people can't let go of Colin, because he just makes the biggest fool out of himself you could on a witness stand, and everyone's like, oh well, he was 17. Well, it's like, okay, so what? You're 17. You're still an adult. You're still held as an adult in almost all cases in the legal system, right? So yes, do I get it that your brain isn't developed? Of course, but that doesn't change your liability or your personal responsibility to what you're doing, right? So
yeah, and as a parent, when you go to Disney, when a kid's 11, they classify the kid as an adult, and it always bothers the fuck out of me. And you have to pay $4 extra. It's like, what is this? Not an adult. He's 11. It's so annoying. Literally, it's from from 7 to. But we were 3 years old for like 7 years as kids, to get under that barrier. But yeah, we were talking about Colin. One thing is that his testimony is not great, but I don't necessarily think it's so bad. And at the end, he's kind of cute in a way. It's like, isn't that threatening, Colin? And he's like, yeah, kind of. Like, it wasn't a complete no where you get that from the adults. And that's the huge difference. And again, you're right. You have to figure out, why are they lying? Why is Jen McCabe so insistent that the Jeep is there? She's lying under oath about this.
Right.
But if you listen to her testimony, she says, when I pulled in, I saw a Jeep there. And I'm thinking maybe Brian Patrick had his Jeep idling in front just initially, but I don't know if the timing works out, because he clearly hears Jen talking to John at 12:18. There's a call between Jen McCabe and John. Where the fuck? How do I get there? And he hears that because he told Yuri Buchanek that, and Yuri Buchanek documented that. So that's at 12:18 in like 30 seconds, and 2.5 minutes later, he sends the text to John, you coming here with 3 question marks. And we know that by 12:24, that Jeep is not in front. So I don't know if he moved it or not. I don't know if it makes a big deal or not. If he did move it as I'm saying, then the Jeep story isn't as big of a deal. But there's some weird reason that Brian Patrick got just Jen McCabe and Matt McCabe to go along with this part of the thing, where Brian Albert is not sure. Actually doesn't know.
Yeah. He says, I don't know.
And then the sister's sort of going along with, so that there's a timeline meeting and some of them are sticking to it. But there is something critical about that Jeep placement that for some reason Jen McCabe has no problem lying under oath. It's hilarious when Alan's questioning her as to the Jeep, and you hear the lies, and that's what you don't want. It would have been better to say, I don't know, or it was in the driveway. Who the fuck cares? But we got to ask ourselves, why is she lying because of that? Is it because she knew, or she's sticking to the story?
But there's so many lies. The other thing is, Caitlin had to have had her car there at the house. Like, I say that because she was there before. She is there at that house before they go out. Like, she's not with Tristan meeting them. I don't know why even Tristan says that he met them there. He met Caitlin there with her parents. He won't say her parents because it's Tristan, but he is like, I have nothing to do with this. I want no part of it. She says only her and her mother and Brian Jr. say that Caitlin was at the waterfall, but not at the house, right? So, but everybody else, all the other witnesses who have less to do with any of it, say that Caitlin was with them at the house beforehand. I very much believe Caitlin lived there, and we can go into the details, but I believe she was still living at the house. I don't think she moved in with Tristan yet. I will stand by that, just based on her lying. So I think there may have been another Jeep there. That's the question for me: is it possible there was another Jeep that was white at that house that she's referencing, and that's what she's thinking about when she says, "Oh, there was a Jeep out front," right? Because she's very vague about what it looked like.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the chills because Lally asked Lucky about the vehicle that he saw, the Escort. Was it an Escort?
Mm-hmm.
The Ford. I got Escorts on the mind. Those 3 whores.
Not
the 4-hour
Escape.
minimum.
What was it?
What
Edge.
the hell is that?
Ford Edge.
There's a reason Lally's asking about a Ford Explorer. I don't know the reason, but Explorer. And then Brian Higgins has a Freudian slip where he says Jeep, not Wrangler, Jeep Cherokee. Or maybe they're asking about the Cherokee. And so, I don't know who has that car, but for some reason, Brian Higgins said that Jeep Cherokee. Jeep Wranglers are a different breed of people. They know this is not a Cherokee. This is a Wrangler. And he said Jeep Cherokee, not Jeep Wrangler. There was something about that. And then I don't know why Lally was asking about whether Lucky could have seen a different make and model of a car. I'm pretty sure it was Explorer, but it could have been a Cherokee. So Lally must know something, or someone must have put that into his mind. And then Caitlin couldn't get the, what's that?
What?
The Ford, I heard a noise. A Ford Taurus, a Ford Explorer. She didn't even know what the car was, whether it was Tristan's car or her car. There is a mix-up. So, but for certain, there wasn't one in the front, and that's critical, right? Because now we know that Jen has no problem lying under oath, and then we have to ask, obviously, why. So it's not necessarily that because she makes one lie, she's lying about everything, the way I know you believe, but she is lying for certain things, and we know for sure she is.
100%. Right. Yes.
It's funny.
She's lying quite a bit.
I have to update the chart, whoever made it, and I put Kevin on the Jeep Wranglers out front. But you remember, you had the experts saying that it wasn't out front, which is so cool to have. And I guess in a criminal case, you don't really mind, but you could potentially call Judd Welsha as a witness in the next trial and say, why did you determine that there was no Jeep out front? And that's a weird thing to do, but he has to make his representation now because you made it under oath that there was none. Why did you come to that conclusion that Jen McCabe was lying, that Matt McCabe was lying? That's the cool part of having previous testimony.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know that. You can call somebody who was an expert in a different trial to talk about their personal experiences. Why not?
Why not? I mean, they did the investigation. Who's better to make a determination as to whether that Jeep was there? And that Jeep is important because if you believe Kevin, then Karen Reed is smashing into it. I mean, that's the whole entire case, really. In fact, they should call Judd Welch. They should definitely depose him and just ask him about that. Who cares about all this other bullshit? Ask him, why did you determine that this Jeep Wrangler was not out front? And then it's cool because he has to tell you why and go through all your analysis and tell us why. And then eventually you use that to ask him why this person was lying. And that's the cool thing about it. He doesn't have to answer that question, but then you utilize that. I mean, their own expert doesn't believe them. It's funny.
I mean, there was it almost felt, and I can't remember now, I'd have to go back. I almost wondered, I remember thinking at the time, if they even told Welcher about the Jeep. I think the way that he addresses it is very vague. I think I heard something about a Jeep. Right? I think it was very vague, I think.
It wasn't as if he didn't know about it. So he makes a determination that it wasn't there. I remember listening for that. He said, I heard about it, but it's my understanding that it wasn't there. And then Brendan he's getting nervous because he knows you don't want the expert contradicting everyone that came on that said it was out there. And for Karen, this is a very critical aspect of her case because if that Jeep is there, then it's impossible for her to have done this based upon their evidence.
So it was interesting. Aussie brings up an interesting point in one of her more recent videos. This is I'm sort of extrapolating to a larger kind of idea. But I think what happened was the witnesses, the House defendants came up with this whole story, right? Oh, Karen leaves at, 12:45. And like they had this timeline in their head. They were putting out all this false information about a timeline. So by the time the first trial came, the whole story ends up, once the Commonwealth goes through all the evidence, realizes, wait a minute, even our own witnesses, the time can't be 12:45. Karen's back at One Meadow by 12:36, right? So I think part of what happened was the House people had to change their story, because when the evidence actually was shown in trial one, they realized that they had kind of screwed up, because there was this whole story about tire tracks that Matt had, and I think Brian Jr. tries to echo trial one. So you can see there's these little things that they were trying to grab onto, but that the evidence didn't support in the end. And so by trial two, Brennan had to just like get rid of a bunch of stuff and try to simplify based on what they actually had for evidence. And I think the Jeep may have been one of those things in the end.
It's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Get to read this. Mark Langle sends 1999, says, hello, Sam. I hope you're doing well with your studies. Thank you. I know it's been a long time coming. I ask this in your post this week. How do you make sense? Your videos get to Karen or her lawyers. All of you guys are incredible. Thank you so much. We so appreciate you. I am so grateful to all of us, right? The lawyers, the content creators, all the people that are working on this case. Sometimes, like I know Denise, my amazing moderator, she'll sometimes send over to them if she thinks that it's important. We hope that they're seeing all of it. If I were them, I'd have an intern looking at everything, because if it wasn't for microdots before the first trial, or before the second trial, in between the first and second trial, they don't see the waterfall video. It was microdots that exposed that, right? So I think that the defense team before trial two learned how to use all of the content creators and how to try to say, okay, wait, maybe these guys really are operating like another extension and we should look at what they're doing. So hopefully they are. I mean, you look at what Aussie's, and Rachel, I think Decoder on X, like there are these folks that are far more technical, that are looking at the data, and like Jen's cell phone, the way that Aussie has kind of gone through piece by piece and exposed all these holes. It's like, these are big, right? So I have to believe, actually, let me take it back. I know that some of the content creators have a closer relationship with some of the folks, some of the people on Karen's team directly.
Who does? Let me hear.
No, I'm not going to give it up. I'm not going to expose you. But,
does it rhyme with
depends.
Whittle?
Who?
Melanie Whittle? I know Melanie. I don't even watch Melanie that much. I heard that she was giving them gift cards or something, so I would imagine you had some connection to it.
I don't know about that, but Melanie's doing lawyer things, right? So I feel like that's a little bit different. Like she's reading documents, obviously hugely important, but I feel like she's not sort of digging through the evidence the way that some of these other people on X or whatever are. So I think, listen, this was the biggest case of their lives, right? So I'm sure that stuff flashes across their screen and that they're seeing some of it. How much, to what extent, I don't know. But you got to pray that this civil team is going through everything, because there's a lot in there. There's a lot in there.
Yeah. So from a practical standpoint, Yannetti is on the defense side. He's basically going every single case and not trying them. He's getting them settled through plea agreements. So this is something where when you go to a trial like this, you have to get as much help as you can. In fact, the visual, wasn't that from microdots in trial one of the house?
I think it was.
I mean, that's critical compared to what Lally was smart, my man. He was putting up a picture where you would think that the snow was 15 feet high.
Yeah,
but for that picture that microdots utilized, and they were lucky that they were able to utilize a document, and we actually heard it in the sidebars where Lally could have objected to it because it's not technically accurate. You can go and have Emily take the picture like I did. I'm like, make sure you get the exact angle. Trespass on the, I said trespass on the neighbor's house across the street because I need it centered just like they had it, but I want the real picture, not a fake one.
Yeah. I don't think there is a neighbor just where you're talking about, actually, I don't know that there is a neighbor there. I think it's kind of like a field but there's no place to park. So the problem is when you get to the end of 34 Fairview right there, it's at a curve, and then you get to like a corner, which is basically like the main street that takes you into the main street. So it's a pretty busy corner when you get to the end of 34 Fairview, and right around that edge, all these cars are coming both ways, and you're trying to slow down, trying to figure out where to put your car. There's no place to pull over, but I don't think there's a house there. I think it's just like an empty kind of area. So the actual neighbor across the street is further to the east if you're looking at the opposite from the house.
Yeah, gotcha. So the Asian house is right to the right of it if you're walking out, and then
yes. But that's next to the house, not across the street.
Right, and we're talking across the street. So across the street is just an empty field?
I think so. I think it's like, I don't know if it's just like a lot that, isn't built up yet. But then I think next to that, there is a house. And I think that's the former assistant Canton PD, the head guy, whatever his name was,
Gotcha.
Tom something. But it's not right across. So if Emily wanted to stand, I don't think there's a property there. But you can't there's no place to put your car.
Gotcha.
I might be wrong about that, but I don't remember seeing a house. I don't remember seeing a place to pull in, like a driveway to turn around.
How odd is it though, Sam, that the people that bought that house, not knowing how famous it was, there has to be traffic there all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Definitely drive by all the time. Just like the Home Alone house. So the people that bought it like years ago were getting pissed that people are coming there. I'm like, then don't buy the fucking house. I love that house. I would go to that house if I was 300, 400 miles from it. I would drive to that Home Alone house. I see it every Christmas. So don't act like you don't have people here. So finally someone bought it. They're trying to make it sort of back to where it's normal again.
That's funny.
Yeah, they're new owners at the Home Alone house.
That is so funny. But the thing about this is they didn't know. They did blur it out, which I thought was interesting. So on Google Maps now, when you go to look it up, the house is blurred. So that tells you how they feel about having, people driving by all the time. Not that it's going to matter. I think it actually makes things worse. Out at South Boston, Kev, what is he wrong about? I missed it. What were you wrong about?
It's just,
I'm not sure what
I
you
think
were
he's
wrong
referring to the call that Brian Patrick made into that radio station or the YouTube channel.
Okay.
He calls in. Yeah, he's like, "You wrong, bro."
Yeah, I got it. Sorry. I don't know what to make of that call. Like, I know other
I don't
people
know
have
either.
I don't know what to make of that call. I don't even know why. I don't even know would even think Brian Higgins if somebody didn't tell me to. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard for me to say.
Although Aiden was confident in saying that Karen heard it and was certain that it was Brian. I don't know if it's true.
It might have been.
Yeah, I don't know.
It might have been. I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know.
Thank you for the super sticker, Fiona Houston? Yeah, Houston, I think.
Thank you.
Ginny, hi Ginny, sends $5. People here in Mass think they won't get in trouble for perjury. Yeah, I'm afraid family-run businesses of the Massachusetts judicial system are going to protect them. I totally hear you. The perjury is what makes me lose my mind. For some reason, lying just is something that I have a low tolerance for anyway. And then you're in a court of law, which is this very formal setting. That's not lost on me. I get the gravity and how intense that must be, just walking into this incredibly serious environment with all these lawyers. Then you have this particular trial, all the eyes of the world on you. You know, all that you say is going to be cut and running for the rest of your life on social media. So you would think in that situation, that you would do everything in your power not to commit perjury, right? Like, however you have to. And yet, these witnesses essentially, Jen is the worst of all, in my opinion. But Brian and Brian are horrific also, to be fair to them. But it's so bad. How are they doing this? Like, how do you, I guess you're kind of stuck. What are you going to do? You're being subpoenaed to testify. Maybe I'd go to Adam Lally and say, please don't call me. Please don't call me. Whatever you do, don't call me. What do you do? But they're so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, this is an interesting question whether you actually get prosecuted for perjury. Generally, the answer is no, but it doesn't help your case by lying because you want your witness to lie, not your witness, the witness that you're questioning to lie, because that makes your case more evident. And I love it. I love the fact that Brian Higgins lied to us. If he pled the fifth or didn't testify at all, we never would have known. They didn't call him in trial number 2, so Brian could have got away with this had there not been all the eyes on. So I'm grateful for all the liars that came up here. And then it's our job to flush it out and figure out why they're lying to solve this case.
I know it's intense. But I'm so grateful for all the content creators and everybody doing their part. Which brings me to this John O'Keefe phone drama. So did you see the initial video from Truth and Transparency about Mike Lank having John's cell phone? You may not have seen it.
I didn't see it, but I tried. Let me say, I tried to watch it. I wasn't following what the overall thesis was. So tell me what you believe is going on with John's phone at 6:02 when they arrived there.
Well, there's what she's saying, and then there's what I believe. So they're two different things. Initially, I did not investigate because I had my test, so I didn't have time. First thing I did as soon as the test was over and I had like 2 seconds was go back and try to match the timestamps on the steps of John O'Keefe's phone to Mike Lank. So I made this video of all the police footage so that I could essentially see Mike Lank throughout the entire timeline, or as much as possible. And you get a lot of Mike Lank. So we get a lot of time with him, especially in the first 40 minutes from 6:26, I think he pulls up, to 6:50 approximately, he goes into the house. So you get that chunk and you get to see what he's doing, how much he's moving. What I realized, first off, it is true that he arrives on the scene and then John's phone is moving. However, it's a really problematic situation because look how much this phone moves. Okay, I'm bringing it to the stage. Now, when you first look at this, you don't realize 432 steps, 180 steps. And to be fair, John did take 170 steps, which I timed it out. I watched him walk out of the waterfall right at 12:11. So he walks out of the waterfall. Karen parked a little further away from the waterfall. But 12:21, he's already in the car for maybe a couple of minutes, right? So that's how gives you an average. That's probably like a quarter of a mile. I'm going to guess completely, but that's a lot of steps. Now look down at how many steps we're talking about. 611, 400, that's the first one. 432 steps starting from 6:04 to 6:11. 180 steps, 173 steps. This is somebody like doing gymnastics in their living room if this is real steps. So I tried to track Mike Lank's steps. He is not moving anywhere near this much on that morning. Now, to be fair, where we would be starting with Lank is at 173. If I was counting literally, because he's on his feet. Now, this is where I don't know. I need an expert to tell me. How are steps counted? I'm assuming you have to be in motion. If I'm just standing, then it's not counting that as a step, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
If that's the case, there's no way that he's walking this much. We don't see it anyway. I mean, there's just no way. This is a tremendous amount of movement.
What is your hypothesis then?
It's a great question.
Okay, so you guys are saying all this. So what is the theory?
So somebody in that house, I mean, there's no question, thanks to Karen calling like a maniac, at 6:02, somebody has taken that phone from hiding the camera to unhiding the camera. That's what it means to clear the pocket state, right? It means the camera is no longer blocked. That happens at 6:02. They're not even there yet. So
they're almost there, Sam.
They're almost there, but they're not there yet. They're not there yet. And at 6:02, it's before. Now, I think probably what happens here, I started thinking about this. I think that one of the calls over to her sister was in preparation for this. because they knew that they couldn't start moving the phone until they showed up. Somebody showed up at the scene and started moving John, right? To make it look like it was being moved by whoever was on the scene. So I think that they just jumped the gun slightly and started moving a little bit too much. Now, here's the thing. You want to point at the girls? There's no chance. These numbers do not line up with anybody moving on the scene. Jen, Carrie, Karen, impossible. There's no way. They're on the ground with John. Jen's in the car. They are not leaving this little area. There's no chance that they're moving 500 steps. That's
really?
In like
I saw
6
Carrie
minutes.
moving. Carrie moves a lot.
No chance.
All right,
No
I'll go back and
chance.
either she did or she didn't. But isn't this over 10 to 15 minutes? The steps.
You can count the steps, but you'd be surprised.
No, I'm asking though.
So there's a bunch. So the
It's hard for me, like,
432. This one is from 6:04 to 6:11. So that's
Okay, so
what is that? 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a significant amount of time. You're walking all over the place. Do you have the distance traveled?
I'm telling you, I watched Mike Lank every step he took, and he's walking, he's pacing. You do not have enough space to move this much. In a whole 30 minutes, I watch him every step he took. If I was being extremely kind, he maybe moves 140 steps. Maybe.
Why do you
I'm
think
being
Lank has the
liberties.
phone during this time? Wouldn't Carrie have the phone initially?
I don't know if he has the phone. The idea was that maybe what happens here is somebody, runs the phone over to him because he's close. He lives 4 minutes away in a car. Somebody runs the phone over to him or meets him down the street, whatever, hands off the phone. Then he shows up on the scene. And when he gets to the scene, he realizes he has to introduce the phone somehow. And he acts like, oh, whose phone is this? Now, he does do that part. That part is established. We hear him doing it. Whose phone is this? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe that could be his phone. And then, Sean Good is like, oh, maybe that's Mulaney's phone. So he does do that. That part is true. But, maybe that wasn't John's phone. I don't know. What I know is that it's very hard. If steps are calculated like exactly the way our eyes would think, then this is way more movement than we're used to seeing.
Gotcha.
But here's the thing, or not used to seeing, but that we are seeing visually with our eyes. The thing though, and I really want to stress this, like I said, 170 steps, part of that time, John is moving in a car. I don't understand, and this is why we need a cell phone expert. How come the step count is showing up in these increments? So the assumption that Lana was making is that when there's no step count, there's no movement. Maybe that's true, but there's also times in here when John is in the car. We know he's in the car between 12:11 and 12:21. So why is the step still counting as though he's walking, even though he's not, right? This is why you need a professional, because these are all really important questions if we're going to try to literally line up the phone. So here's my assessment. It's not impossible that it's Lank, because he is on the scene and he is moving at the same times as there's movement, but it seems to me like there's a lot more steps than there is him moving.
All right. I just didn't understand what the overall point of all this was. In theory, at 12:32, we know that John's phone stops moving until 6:02. I initially thought, well, how the fuck is that phone going to get to where it is? Technically where they find it under John. If John
no, but
had
they
that
don't
phone,
find it. Wait, whoa, time out. There's no evidence that anybody finds anything under John. There's no evidence
there
of
is.
that.
Carrie Roberts
No.
testified
Well,
that.
Carrie Roberts is lying.
But what did
Carrie
she say
Roberts,
though?
Carrie Roberts testifies that she picks up the phone when she grabs the blankets. She did not. There's no, you can see her on video picking up the blankets, no phone.
Yeah,
So
that doesn't
absolutely.
affect me though. She's not gonna have blankets when they first turn them over, John, and clear that pocket state.
Carrie doesn't have the phone. She doesn't have the phone. These steps do not align with Carrie having the phone.
I'll look into it. I don't want to make a representation one way or another. You could be right, but it's more plausible that at 12:32, after John was rendered unconscious, if that phone is still in his pocket, then I forgot, and I've asked you this before. Maybe I didn't ask you. I asked someone who was actually from the UK. They're experts in technology. They didn't go to any college, but he's from the UK, the guy said. And he said if the phone's in the back pocket and you're carrying the body, it's not going to register any steps, which to me is the more simple answer, the plausible answer, and it's probably the safest answer. And as much as I know about technology...
That's earlier, though. We're talking about later now. So now we're talking about what happens at 6:02 when the pocket stays clear.
Right, but you needed to get the phone there by having this convoluted story. I'm saying the phone can easily get there from 12:32. At any point, they can move John's body with the phone in his pocket. It's not going to register steps if they're carrying him or if they drove him over there. Either way.
Right, assuming they left it with him, you're saying. Right.
I'm saying the phone was always with him when he was knocked out because he actually closed the phone at 12:32 and some seconds. He manually locks that phone, most likely puts it in a pocket, and that's probably when Brian punched him or he attacked Brian. Wherever it is, that's going to be his last movement.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Yes,
so you
all
don't
that
need to
I
have
agree
this
with.
huge story. I don't know why everyone wants to make this story up. But
it's not that we want to. It's that there's no evidence that Carrie has the phone. And it's important because if somebody in that house has that phone, because for some reason it got separated from John, one would think, as you are saying, that they would have put it in John's pocket and wherever he goes, so does the phone, because that's the smart thing to do. But it does appear as though it is possible that is not what happened. And that's
you
the
have to be
question.
careful, though. There's not movement between 12:32 and 6:02. If you move that phone just one step and it registers, now you have to explain it. There is no movement.
Right.
That makes it more plausible that either the phone was there from 12:32 until 6:02 or it's on his body and it just happens to be. If they pick Brian up, if Brian Higgins picks that phone up at any point, or if Brian Albert does at any point at 2 in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning and moves it and it registers a step, they're in huge trouble. So I don't think that there's any need to have more controversy with this phone. If it was in John's pocket when he was rendered unconscious, I have no problem with him being moved over to the flagpole and there's no steps taken.
That, again,
and you also have to remember the temperature, Sam, because the temperature is steadily going down too.
But it's
not as if this phone's in a house.
But it's not what it should be, right? I mean, it's 18 degrees out. And we know that the cell phone in a freezer dropped immediately. Like the phone started rapidly dropping, according to Ian Whiffen, actually. So it seems impossible to believe. Do I think it might have been in somebody's car? Absolutely. Do I think that it could have been in a garage or a basement? Sure. Because 50 degrees, that to me is probably what you're looking at, right? In a basement or in a potentially in a garage, in a car, something like that. But the phone is not at enough of like a drop for it to have been outside the whole time. So I don't know. I mean, it's a real mystery. I do not know.
I disagree with that, though. I think there is a drop, Sam, because if the phone is connected, touching a body that's 85 degrees, then it's never going to get below that body, most likely.
But we don't know that at all, like, right? And if you think about there is a drop. I'm not saying there's not a drop in temperature. I'm just saying that I don't think it's enough of a drop for the phone to have been outside. That's my point.
Yeah, I disagree. I think there perfectly is. And my friend who was born in the UK, he didn't know the freezing temperature, but he did this test and he showed that if you put a phone in a cold environment, the temperature goes down. That proves everything.
But it goes down, just to be clear, it goes down dramatically and it goes way down. And then it turns itself up to try to protect itself, because that's what he told us too.
How does Sir Ian not take the temperature of the freezer? Go ahead.
I know, he's such a... Anyway, does anyone know what case or part of the police department John worked in? John worked in the SVU of the Boston PD. I'm not sure, although I think somebody does know for sure which office he worked out of outside of Boston. Was it Boston proper? It might have been. Might have been
Emily
Boston
would probably
proper.
know this. Didn't he have something to do with
definitely.
registering pedophiles or something related to
Yeah,
that?
he was like sex offender unit. Yes. Yep. So that definitely would count as... a lot of people thought that maybe there was a relationship between Brian Albert and John that sort of surrounded that, because Brian Albert had been linked to like some prostitution ring through Uber, or like an Uber-like service. Like, you could call up a prostitute and they would get sent to you through a car service.
Oh,
But
really?
to me, yeah.
What was the
and
number
there was
that they
some
were using?
evidence of that, but
That's horrible.
just-
What phone number did they, or was it an app?
yeah, I can't tell you. I don't know anything about it, but I think it's long gone now. I think they got busted a long time ago with cops involved.
I mean, that's a horrible service.
Yes. But anyway, so people have speculated that maybe it was on purpose. I just don't think so, because this is not something you would do with your kids in the house. It just, to me, this was an accident, is the way I see it.
Do you know any females that ever, of your friends, ordered a male escort?
I'm sorry? Do I have any female friends that have ordered?
Have you ever known any of your girlfriends or anyone
No.
that ever got? Yeah, I don't know of that either. Now, of course, my wife always tells about the time in your life where you can't control yourself because you're laughing so hard. Like, those few times. It only happens a few times, but yeah, like they went to a black strip club for one of her friends' bachelorette parties, and like she said, the guy was sucking her friend's toes, and the toe polish came off, and they were, when you just can't even like. You're laughing so hard you can't make it. But I never heard of the male side of the escorting business.
No, I know nothing about that.
But what's weird, though, that John involved Karen in doing that undercover work? I thought that was so odd. Did you ever hear that story?
No.
Where she supposedly takes a camera and videos someone buying drugs or selling drugs. Yeah, I don't know the details, but yeah, I've heard this before. Maybe someone out there can fill us in. It's definitely true. I went down that rabbit hole and figured out that it was true, and it was like official business. But yeah, Karen was involved a little bit in that.
Well, I could see that would be kind of a fun thing to do, right? Like take your girlfriend along for a stakeout. I mean, why not, I guess? Right? Something to do, at least a way to kill time. James Jamieson, 6181, sends £5. Caitlin and Colin took Chloe to another location. Remember the weirdo lost dog story? I didn't believe any of that. Thank you so much. Yes. So actually, that's like the only thing that I think that the lost dog is like the only thing that Allie said that I think is true. However, they definitely took 100% that Chloe was exiting the property, and I do believe with Caitlin and possibly Colin. I can't verify that, but I personally am very, very certain Allie was never there, and very, very certain that Caitlin had to have taken the dog, because there's nobody else in the family that could have done it, and obviously there's no dog on the property the next morning, because we would hear a dog. I mean, you're going to hear a German Shepherd without a doubt. There's absolutely no way around that. And it's very strange that they would, there's actually like documents and I think police reports early on. Brian Albert, I don't know how they missed this, or maybe this was in the federal grand jury documents. Brian Albert says that the dog was barking like crazy earlier in the night because of all the people in the house. This is before they get home, I think. And he's like, oh, well, the dog had to go out. That's why she was barking. Not because of all the people, even though that's not what he told the grand jury. So he kind of gets busted lying about that. So we even know that this dog was barking with people in the house, and now we're being told and are being led to believe that Chloe is there, but just quiet as a mouse when this entire thing is happening right out front.
It's interesting. Yeah, I agree.
And nobody saw a dog. Which to me, it's like
be some
cops are coming in your house, total strangers. The dog is nowhere to be found. I don't know.
It is odd. Because even if you take the dog away, it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be bites. Everyone saw the dog prior to. They saw it an hour earlier. I don't know what the point would be. They didn't get rid of her straight away. They waited months, which is obviously an indicator of something in terms of deception, getting rid of your dog.
Of course.
Yeah, but everyone puts a lot of weight into that dog. And again, I'm just ignoring it at this point because of what I'm really hyper-focused on.
I know. My thought, though, too, just to add to the Chloe thing, I think the reason they got the dog out of there was just because at that point you're a little bit in a panic and you don't want the dog to hurt anybody else, and there's a group of people in the house. So my sense is they just said, get this dog out of here so the dog can calm down. And Caitlin and Tristan weren't familiar enough with the dog to, for them to be able to take her, no problem. Certainly that dog wasn't going to turn on those two, right? That's my thinking on it. Okay, let me take this off the screen. So yeah, I mean, as far as the phone mystery, just to clear this up once and for all, I can't say definitively that Lank doesn't have the phone, but what I can say is that somebody is doing a tremendous amount of movement, and the movement that we're seeing on this phone does not align with Karen or Carrie or Jen or any of those guys, but it also doesn't align with the cops because there's way more steps than there is anybody moving around. I mean, it's just, there's only so much space, only so many steps you can take in a small space. And if you count them, you'll see what I mean really quick. It's a weird exercise counting steps. I would think that we take more steps than we do. So I would have thought 150 steps is like nothing, but it turns out that's not true at all. It's actually.
Are you one of those white people that counts their steps and tracks them and tries to beat them the next day?
No.
I've only noticed white people that do. I never met a black person that does that for some reason. I don't know why, but it just is.
No, I've known a lot of people that do. I've had clients do it. I think, some people
they
just
had to
get
be all
motivated
white.
by competition, but I don't know. I have no desire. Yay, okay. Carrie, my God, I can't believe you've been with us for 3 months. It seems like forever. It's crazy. Crazy. Yay, thank you, Strange Credulity, for gifting 5 memberships. You're amazing. You're awesome. Fiona Hewson, thank you both for all your hard work. It's 4:40. Jesus, you better get to sleep. I never get any sleep because what you all do is addictive. Well, you're right about that. It definitely can interrupt your sleep schedule.
I love when Aussie from wherever she is and across the world makes fun of me. She's always bashing me in all those videos. See, Vince, look at it. I love it. I think it's so hilarious.
I like it too. It's amazing. Well, I was saying, I think I even might have said this to Aussie, but I was saying it to somebody, that one of the things that I think is helpful, like I went back after, because your new girlfriend is Jen McCabe. So I went back and I was like, wait, let me go listen to this 911 call again, because it's been a while, right? And it's helpful because what it does is it forces you to be reacquainted with what your opinion is and why. And so it's a good thing that we're challenging each other, because it makes you either more sure or very much not sure, and you have to work it out one way or the other. One of the things that really kills me about the other folks, the folks who are very much against Karen Read or believe she's guilty, this kills me. It kills me, like it drives me insane. We are all dying for evidence. Like, we're out here, and I mean, we are looking through every little moment to find any evidence that we can, but it just doesn't seem like the folks on the other team are doing that at all. It sort of feels like they're like, yeah, well, whatever, we can't explain stuff, we'll just ignore it, and like, that's cool. I just don't work that way. Like, my brain is like, I have to be sure, and I have to make sure I'm sure, and make sure again and again and again. So that drives me a little nuts. Like, we're constantly digging in the evidence, constantly, right? So I don't know what else to say about it, but
I'm always trying to figure out like what psychologically drives us for doing this. We say justice for John, but there has to be some personal reason all of us do this. Now, I called Jen McCabe, Precious Angel McCabe, to Emily, just really to annoy her. But in fairness, the 911 call did exactly what it was meant to do. When they teach you CPR, step 1 to CPR is call 911. It's not perform chest compressions. It's not to clear the airway. It's call 911 first. Jen McCabe did that, and she gave him the right information. And were you impressed that she knew John's age? Because I don't know my own age, Sam. There's plenty of times where I don't know if I'm 47 or 48. I'm pretty sure I'm 48. She knew that John was 46. Like, these are little things that I pick up on, that I hyper focus on. Not that it means anything.
Well, but I don't know if you know that she tells us why, though. Like, during the trial, she tells us that the reason why she knew his age is because they had some kind of a running joke, and I don't remember the details right now. I'm sure if I thought about it enough, I could. But she knew his age for a very specific reason, because of some long-standing joke that they had about age and about who was older or whatever. They're close in age. But
what would you want have her to done? What would you want Jen McCabe to have done on that 911 call?
Time out. So let's go back and it's tough for me to do this without like going through, but at one point there are 7 I statements and a change in pronoun in one sentence. Like in one sentence. It's I. Okay, so and then she switches to they. I, they, and then talks. So there's that. Then there is a sentence later. I know. That's 6 I's and 6 no's. Okay, so that's a pronoun. Okay, put that aside. One of the first things that Jennifer McCabe says is, I just pulled up and found him. And this is like what they teach in deception detection class. It's like you get the little paragraph and it's like, a husband calls 911 and he says, I just walked in and found her. And, it's like, well, why is the focus on the fact that you just arrived? Why do we need to know that? That's a consciousness of guilt indicator, right? So there are so many. The fact that she uses the wrong pronouns, she doesn't, she's very distant, a man, the man, this kind of stuff. There's so many, but there's more. Wait, so we're supposed to believe, because you're asking, we're supposed to believe that you said it, Jen gets to the scene. Now, I believe that Jennifer McCabe is an absolute control freak. The other day, I went back and I watched, because I was counting Lank's steps. This is the stuff I'm doing, right? I'm like supposed to be resting because I wasn't feeling well. And I'm staring at the screen, I'm counting Lank, but I'm also watching Jen. This woman does not stop talking the entire time that she is on the scene. She controls the entire narrative. She talks to all of the police. Carrie's like wandering around. She's cleaning off the back of her car. She's on the phone many times. Carrie's completely removed from the police. But Jen is like, she's moved. Plus, Jen, by the way, when she talks with her hands, it's deception. So she's like all over, moving her hands, waving her hands. Like, this is what she's doing on the scene. Anyway, talking to the cops. So to me, this is all like indications of the need to control the narrative right from the start. But we'll put that aside because you asked about the 911 call. So we're supposed to believe they get to the scene. She glances down, looks what she says. She glances, looks at Carrie, and she just knows she's got to call the 911. So now she goes over by the car and she calls 911. It's 6:03. I have the exact time written down somewhere, but it's 6:03. Okay. So, all right. So Jen immediately gets there and she calls 911. The first thing she says is, I think he's dead. Then another sentence or two goes by and she clarifies it again, right? I think he's passed away. Now, dispatch is saying, we're at the point of the call where dispatch is saying, can I walk you through CPR? Does anybody there know CPR? Can I walk you through CPR? She's like, she doesn't ask. She tries to avoid asking them if he's breathing. So instead, she goes to say, she's like, is he? And then she hesitates and she's whispering, I don't think he's breathing, right? So then he's like, well, he says it again. Because like basically he has to insist that somebody try to save him, right? So he's like, no, like I'll walk somebody through CPR. And she's like, no. That's what she says. No. Like you don't understand. So she doesn't say you don't understand. She says, no. I can go. Right? Like, no, we're not going to try any life-saving measure because he's gone. And then the guy starts to hang up. He's like, okay, well, if we're not going to do that. So then he asks another question, right? Because, these 911 guys, like they want to keep you on the phone. So
not that one, though. He's like, call me back if he becomes alive again.
Well, no, but if you listen carefully. So he says that, and then he asks, where are you guys, right? And she gets irritated. She's like, oh, she makes a sigh. She gets irritated because she wants to hang up the phone. She's annoyed with him. Now you can see she's annoyed because the next 3 sentences, this is when she gets worried about the scene. And she actually says, oh my God, this is a scene. And before that, so you want to say, well, okay, but right before that, the sentence before that, she's yelling at Carrie to get off of John. Carrie, you got to get off him. You got to get off him, Carrie. Because Jen, of course, knows he's dead, is absolutely sure he's dead, and now is getting freaked out because you've got Carrie, like, you know, essentially laying on and breathing into a dead body. So, and Jen knows that. And then she says, "Oh my God, this is a scene." That's a direct quote. So we know what she is worried about as she's sitting there on this phone call is not saving John O'Keefe, because this guy is saying, "We're going to walk you through CPR." And she is like, "No, no, no. Let me tell you, there is not a person alive. If you love somebody, okay, you love them. The last thing, if it's a stranger, that's different. It's different. But if you love somebody and you're with them the night before, the last option, no matter how much, you know, you can get Carrie and Karen running around, right? Whether you believe her or not, you love this man. You're going to do everything in your heart and soul to deny that is what is going on. You were with him last night. Like, even the fact that you're with him last night makes it even more likely that you're going to be like, just get somebody here. Like, everyone, you're going to be denying up and down this man is dead. P.S. She goes right to the 911 call. She's not with him next to his body, right? She does, after the fact, as you pointed out, go to give after. But the 3 times that she insists he's dead, to the point where she waves off EMS, is beyond incriminating, She's insisting that he's dead, and then is worried, with her own admission, about the scene on the lawn. Oh my God, this is a scene. Like, come on. Could there be a more incriminating 911 call? Is there any way to make a 911 call more incriminating than what I just said?
Yeah, and I don't see it that way. That was a beautiful rendition of what you believe occurred on that call. Not everything was accurate, and I'll go through the call because it doesn't matter, right?
Oh, it's accurate.
If you believe it is, then I will go through. But the point is, I only asked you what you wanted her to do, but I didn't realize that you're using that call as a method to determine her deception, which is good. I was really asking about what did you want to hear from a 911 call, and not realizing that you're utilizing what she's saying as potentially being that she knew that John was already dead. The only problem that you girls have, and I say girls, you, Emily, and not necessarily Corey, but that's our text group that we have, is that there is a lie detector strapped to Jen's wrist. And I didn't know this until I found it out just a few weeks ago. And this is very critical, because there's nothing more telling of deception than blood pressure. And that's why it could be a huge indicator. It's not perfect, but you know that Jen McCabe is not having any high blood pressure. She's not under any stress up until the point she gets there at 6:02. And that's a huge thing that you have to
Wait a minute.
rectify.
Whoa, back up. There's 2 problems with what you're saying. First is that, like, I haven't actually taken and lined up the timeline, so I'd have to do that to even be able to have this honest conversation about her blood pressure. But there's a couple of things. First, they're drinking. You cannot argue. There's no way to argue that alcohol doesn't have a sedating effect on the nervous system. That is what it does. She also takes MS medicine. I have no idea if that's regulating to her body. It could be. We'd have to find out what the medicine is to be able to determine that. So there's 2 things there. The other thing is, there's a reason why it's not admissible. You can't use a lie detector test to say whether somebody is guilty or not in a court of law, right? Because what we're looking at is an indication of somebody's essentially ability to control their nervous system one way or another, right? So you have to make the assumption that whatever happened, that Jen McCabe would have had a heart rate of 120 because of whatever happened. I honestly I can't say that. I don't know Jen well enough, right? And the weird thing, here's another thing. The second thing is, I know you don't maybe know this, but I believe wholeheartedly that the cell phone was manipulated with. I don't know if they were smart enough or even knew how to get to the health data or would have, but somebody definitely screwed with the database. There's absolutely no question in my mind that happened, and that it's actually definitive. Like, there's definitive enough proof to say that.
Okay.
That's number
Can I
two.
just stop you there? Just so, because I
Yes.
didn't clarify what I was saying. Jen McCabe was wearing a Apple Watch. Apple Watch tracks your heart rate via the actual watch. It's different than having your phone. So this is more accurate. And we have her report, and in it, you see throughout the night, she's like in the 80s, sometimes 90s, and then when she's sleeping, it's near 60 to 70, like an angel that night. And then if I gave you that report, Sam, and at 2:27, you saw a spike to 120 or 110, you would be here telling me how accurate this information is. You have to be honest with yourself with regard to that report.
I would, but it doesn't do that.
Thank you. It
doesn't do that.
It doesn't.
Right. Doesn't. That doesn't mean, though, that there wasn't something going on. When you look at, you have to take all the evidence in its totality, right? Like, it's funny because Matt actually makes a big deal about this, and you're right. I would never, if the situation was flipped. But Matt is like, oh, well, my wife, Jen, is really calm under pressure. That's a direct quote from Matt, who testifies about how Jen handles stress really well. But I'm going to guess on this. It's funny because I think when I first looked at the health data, I didn't really think about the fact that it was Jen's. It could have been manipulated because they manipulate other stuff on her phone. So I looked at it, and when I looked, I was surprised because the stress was later than you would expect.
Yeah, we spoke
where
about
her
this.
heart rate. Yeah. And it's funny because that does align with the, oh my God, it's a scene thing. Right?
Yeah, but we spoke like it was the way
later.
the data was coming out. Clearly, there is a huge deviation from 602 on, and you were trying to make the point that it should have been early, but we saw from the data there really wasn't any readings up until like it was 602, then it jumped. I hear what you're saying, but you know that if it jumped at 2:27 in the morning, you would be telling me how important this is, and I don't blame you for doing that. If that data is accurate, then it doesn't support your claim that she knew.
She did know, though.
Right, but I'm saying if the data is accurate and it was accurately taking, and she didn't have some weird way of controlling her own heartbeat, then if it's true, then there's really no way she would be able to see her friend dying at 2:27 and know it and sleep through the night. With
Well,
that
first
rate.
off, we're making assumptions about what the 2:27 was and what it meant, right? Like, I think that whatever happened, she knew already. So 2:27 wasn't, to me, that was just a curiosity, like, thing. I think she was just essentially asking, like, well, what time should they put him out, right? Like, because you have to remember, like, one of the things that speaking to Kevin helped me with was the fact that, like, these guys are strategists, that's their job. Like, they're undercover agents, and that they're very strategic, that they do have the capacity to try to cover up a crime like this, which is the reason why they probably didn't, call it in, right? Why they didn't say, oh, it was self-defense or whatever.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because, when you go back, they would have known that if we put him outside, when whoever shows up, 911, the ambulances find him, they won't be able to discern if he's dead or if he's frozen. And because of that, they can't say that he is a dead person on our lawn. They can't declare that until he gets to the hospital because of these situations, right? Where people have thought or whatever. So to me, that was the question she's asking is not, nobody's putting John to die outside. He was dead. He was dead immediately. That's, to me, very clear that the injury was immediate, would have happened within 15 minutes. He would have been dead within 20. They would have known it very quickly. And that's what happened. They saw it. He died very quick. They panicked. And then whatever they did. Yeah. So I don't think the 2:27 was like, oh God, I don't think it would have been. I think you probably would have seen that spike at a different time. But again, I didn't go through that health data to discern that.
Yeah.
Just to be
and
clear.
there isn't a spike at all throughout that night until 2 in the morning.
Right. But again, you have to remember, and you may or may not know it, but somebody did mess with that data. Somebody
Okay.
definitely did. So
Gotcha.
I don't know whether they would have had the wherewithal to do something like that or if they knew how. I don't know that, but somebody definitely messes with their phone data at some point. And it's in the Green's report. I mean, Green spells
I'm not
that out in his
placating
report.
you saying that. You know, I don't go to. I hate even the fact that I have to say that there was planting of taillight. I hate that. So
me
I don't
too,
like
I
the
know.
conspiracies. And just so everyone knows how dedicated we are.
Oh, wait a minute, time out. But I just want to be clear. This is not a
Tell a great
conspiracy.
story.
This is in Richard Green's cell phone report. It's not a conspiracy. It came from his report that somebody messed with her data. But go ahead.
Right. Well, now this doesn't seem as important. I'm going to say the story, but you, Corey, and Emily and myself are on a text group string together, and I polled all of us on Valentine's Day. I said, raise your hand if you anticipate on at least even kissing anyone today. Everyone had their hands down. It was 0 for 4. And then the next day I said, raise your hands if you got any type of ass, whether you made out with someone or not. And we were all still 0 for 4 because what we were doing was looking at these documents. And you would agree, right? I'm still 0 for 1. I haven't gotten even one kiss since then.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Well, right. My fiance and I are long distance, so we were not together at the time.
You have the perfect man. He looks like an Adonis, and he doesn't live anywhere near you, so you never have to see him.
That's not good at all. That's terrible. It's like the worst.
Oh.
That's not good. It's bad. Yes, not forever though. So Bite My Bit sends $5. How did the big test go? The big test was horrible. I have no idea how I did, but it was horrible. Absolutely horrible.
I don't
Thank
even
you
know
for
when you say
asking.
test. Like, what school gave you a test?
So I'm a PhD candidate at Saybrook University.
Well, we know that. We see
California.
all those credentials.
Yes. And it's at the end when you're you finish all your coursework, you have to do what's called the comps exam. Everybody in psychology has to do it. It's like the final test of all that you've learned, but it's supposed to test everything you know. The problem is they only give you 4 hours. So they're asking for everything you've learned in 4 hours, and it's not possible to do that, right? So also, by the way, I've been in the field for 25 years, maybe even more now. We won't talk about that. But so this should be easy. The problem is they only gave me 4 hours. So I'm doing things at the end, like see question 1, like for question 9, I'm like see question 1, yeah. So I don't know how I did, but it's
When
the
you
first
say,
part.
is it literally
Second
they're
part.
saying, tell us everything you know, or there's actual questions?
So what they do is they give you a vignette, like a clinical vignette. They give you like, Steve is 32 and he's, I don't know, Caucasian male from blah, 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 blah. They give you like an outline of a person. And then they ask you questions like, how could you view this from a social psychological lens? How could you view this from a behavioral biological lens, like that?
The answer's simple. Mommy issues. It's always the mom. Next question.
Well, this is also a humanistic program, and you have to factor that. And they want a certain answer, right? It's not
When did you get your first tattoo?
When did I get my first tattoo? When I was 16.
How does
Very
that
long
work
time
when you're underage?
He didn't. It was a bike shop, and he didn't ask about age. Like
What was it?
biker. It was like an emblem that I got with my friends, and it just was like a circle with our like friend group logo. I don't know.
Like that. Where was it on your body?
Mine's like low stomach. My friends are different places.
I didn't ask about your friends. I asked about your low stomach below the belly button.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting.
Yes.
What does that
yes,
say
yes.
about you?
I wanted a tattoo, and so did my friends, and we were bored. Very, very bored.
Mommy issues.
I don't know how that has anything to do with my mom, but
Or dad.
Karen-
But your dad's
Karen-
perfect, so.
At Karen Pally 3127 sends $5. Nobody could have known that Karen wouldn't come in the house with John. I know, or follow a few minutes later. Jen staring out the window at Karen's car. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you made this point before that it's not as if Brian Higgins knew for certain that he was going to get John alone. If Karen had got out of the car with him, I'm certain we never would have met, and he would be alive still, because probably the conflict wouldn't have been the way it went down. Because to me, someone had to knock John out on his feet, a punch to his jaw or his face somewhere to knock him unconscious to fall backward. I don't think that's happening with Karen standing right there.
That's interesting. So your thinking is like it couldn't have happened if Karen was there.
Yeah, this has to be so unique where you knock someone out and they have to strike the back of their head at the right place too. It's not just you knock them out. Generally, when you get knocked out, you don't die, even if you do hit the back of your head. So this is something that's so unplanned.
I agree. So
let's do some of these questions. We'll take our halftime break with our new.
Yes. Okay, at Joey36 sends $20. You guys are the best. Just joined. Where do you stand on Lana's theory about Lank having John's phone? And can we rally the great Microdots to make a video to explain her theory more clearly? Sorry if covered already. You know what I'll do? I already made the actual video portion of that video. And when I'm done here, what I'll do is I'll start working on that video for everybody. I did personally take her theory and try to map it through. And it just doesn't map in the sense that he's not moving anywhere near as much as he would need to, assuming that everything on this phone is exactly the way that it appears, right? Assuming that the phone data is accurate, assuming that you have to be moving between these windows of time, at this window of time, then there are some major issues with Lank because he's not moving anywhere near this much. You have to look at the number of steps.
Gotcha.
Is
that the old report that we had for a while, or something that we just got from Corey?
I don't know where this came from, to be honest. I have no idea.
I think it's from one of the motions that were filed, actually by Richard Green. He attached some of those phone documents. I've seen some of that too.
What I hadn't seen, what's new for me, is the stuff after 604. That I did not see.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that. Oh, maybe I did actually. Oh, I did. Because I just assumed that it was in the hospital or wherever the hell the phone was going. Obviously, it wasn't.
Yeah. I will definitely, though. I'm working on it. I promise. Will be with us soon. UK, appreciate you, X. Miss Debates, we appreciate you too. Thank you for being with us. Mr. 870 cents $5. Don't you think Brian Albert had a radio or scanner? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, I do think, here's what I'll tell you about Lank. I think based on an analysis of what he's saying, he has prior knowledge of some kind. Whether or not he's involved is a different story. There's only one cop, arguably maybe good, is possible, but I don't think so. I think the only cop who has prior knowledge, in my experience so far from all of this analysis, is Lank, because he was a close ally, closer than we think, even with the obvious evidence that he was a close ally. That's my theory.
I'll preface by saying that if at all, it's not that you know for certain. It's if at all,
right?
A cop knew, which I don't.
Based on, like I said, based on the fact that, I mean, I'm certain. Whether I know for certain, may or may you could disagree with me, of course. But when you listen to you analyze his words, what he is saying is deception. There is deception afoot. Why is there deception? I don't know. Now, I haven't listened to Veriscope yet to get his opinion. I'd love to. I love that they're like people like those guys. Like they're so helpful for me. They like make me feel more confident and sure. Very, very helpful. But I know he just did an analysis also of Lank, so I really want to see what he's saying. But
how do you fall asleep? Pills or listening to things, or both?
Listening to things, yeah. No pills. Listening.
For real? How do you do it? With a iPhone in your ear bud, or you get to do it from your phone or something else?
Well, if I'm alone, I use my phone. If I'm with somebody else, I use the earbuds.
Yeah, me too. I'm always with someone else, unfortunately. Oh, I mean, fortunately, I'm married. Yeah, so
of
I've got one earbud. You wake up and like it's dead, and then you have to find the other one. You got to find the fucking charger, and then you have to put the other one into that, and then it falls, and then it like somehow when you drop that thing, it falls like under the bed, and you have to like get it. I hate that. Yeah, but that's how I fall asleep. It's so bad, but it's so true.
That's so funny.
YouTube went down for like 4 minutes the other day when I got home. No. You couldn't log in. Yeah, like it was weird. Like all of Google. But the phone, it worked, but not on the TV. And I was like panicking. I'm like, why can't I log in? And there's like funny stories. Like, and I literally talked to my son. I think I told you this like for the first time in like a week about that because he loves computers. Yeah.
That's very funny. Karma Dharma 8 cents, $2. Was iPhone pocket state clear on the butt dials? That's a good question. We'd have to get that information. Where is that information? Is that in the new? It is. Okay.
Not in the new one. Again, to clear a pocket state, according to Sir Ian, is you take it literally out of your pocket where the camera's being blocked, and he would bring it up to either make a call or look at it, and that would clear the pocket state.
But wait a minute. The only way to clear a pocket state, it doesn't have to be in a pocket. It just has to be the camera's unblocked. So, like, in other words, that is the way John probably did unblock it, is the way you just described. But in order to clear a pocket state, what happens is when somebody calls, that's when it gets activated, because the phone then is trying to find a face to unlock it. So it starts looking.
Oh, right. Okay, so you're saying it has to be a call for that to actually occur.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then 500 times it'll check over and over and over again.
Right.
So that's why Ian said there was like tens of thousands of pocket state clears. So I haven't seen that list, but they got it.
Yeah,
People
I didn't see
have
that.
it. Yeah. I mean, I know Aussie has it, and I think Rachel Decoder has it. So, or Data Decoder has it. Yeah. So it's there somewhere. But
what's
so
your
all
fiance
you
doing
need to
right
do
now,
though,
Sam?
probably working on the house.
On his house?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always curious, like, where people are at given points in the
Different
day.
times?
Sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
I know you're going to tell something critical, but this was more important in my mind.
No, he's probably
like,
home like painting or something. Probably.
Is he? How many push-ups does he do a day?
I don't know if he does any push-ups.
How does he keep that body in Adonis shape?
He exercises a lot. Probably does a lot of sit-ups, I'm thinking. I don't think push-ups anymore.
What, he's got abs?
He does have abs.
Son of a bitch. At our age, he's got abs that you can see?
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yep.
You are vain. You're just like your pops, Mr. B. I'll never forget the two things. When you're like, yeah, my dad's so dedicated to me, or dedicated. If it was snowing, he'd be out running. I'm like, yeah, but how does that help you? I mean, that helps him. And he's dedicated to his body and him looking good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he bails on us and he's doing 12 different shows the next day.
Oh, you stop. I haven't actually called him since then, to be fair. Honestly, I've not spoken to him yet. I need to. It's my bad. Thank you so much. I don't know how to say this. Ep op orc Is that what it says? That's awesome.
How do you not know that? It's eep op orc You don't know what that's from?
No.
The Jetsons. It means I love you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Say it again.
Eep op orc
That really was from the Jetsons?
Yeah, it was a fake language that Elroy made up. And then George submitted it to a contest for his daughter to win a date with Jet Screamer. I mean, how do you not know this? My kid just watched it the other day. Yeah, Jet Screamer was like a rock and roll type guy, and that was the thing. George didn't want his daughter dating this rock star, so he sent in Eep Op Ork as a song. And they loved it, and he won. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's adorable. That's a really cute
How old
name.
are you? You didn't watch the Jetsons?
No, I did not. Well, I watched the Jetsons, but it was 47 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? A long time ago. At Gail Brennan 6166 sends $20. Mel, why? What's the point of Lank having the phone, or the phone being given to anyone? So just quickly, I will explain the point of Lank having the phone. So Lana at Truth and Transparency was trying to figure out what's the deal with the phone. There's a lot of shadiness based, the House defendants, Carrie lying, that stuff. Nobody knows who had the phone, where it was, when somebody got it, when the cops got it, when Proctor got it. All of that has been very shady. And so Lana was trying to essentially rule out that she was trying to say Carrie didn't have the phone. But in doing that, at the very moment, as she's watching the video, she sees that Lank shows up at the exact timestamp as one of the timestamps on here. So she starts trying to match up his movement with the timestamps on the morning, and realizes that essentially you can't rule him out, that he may fit. Now, again, she didn't actually, to be fair to her, didn't stop and count every step, which is exactly what you have to do. I started to do it, but it's a lot. And so far it appears from what I've seen, he does not move enough somebody's moving a tremendous amount with this phone, way more than makes any sense. That's the brief, right? I know we have to take our break. Let me answer a few more of these. Gail Brennan 616 and $10. Sam, what's the point or reason for the phone being given to anyone? So the idea is that somebody, you would think, as Vince just pointed out, that they would have just put the phone in John's pocket. The only way they don't is if it's a mistake. That's the truth, right? If it falls out in a car and they just don't realize it right away, and then later on realize that the phone is not with John, and they have to find a way to give the phone to somebody at the right time, and they realize they can't start moving the phone around until he is discovered on that lawn. So it looks like whoever starts moving has the phone.
Yeah.
Right? That's why. So the thing is, they may have jumped the gun because it moves a little too early. That's point number one. Point number two, there are some statements that Link makes that do indicate he may have had it. And I will go through all this for everybody in my next video, so it's really real clear. There definitely is some shadiness around Link. The question is it because of the phone? And that we just don't know. We don't know.
I don't know. I always liked Link when I was looking at him. Like, he always looks like a guy that drinks a lot, but not like in a rowdy way. He seems like a pretty level-headed type dude.
Mike Link?
Yeah.
Which I
have no problem with. Yeah, like looking at him. I have no, like, Gallagher seems so abrasive, and fucking Tully. I would those guys. Mike just seems like more of a, not necessarily laid back, but just more of a even keel type guy compared to the others.
Yeah, I think he's a local Canton guy. I think that's right. I think you have a pretty good read on it. It's just that he's been friends with them. He's had problems with Brian in the past. And I think he's probably a little scared of Brian Albert, if I'm being 100% honest, because there was problems with him. We learned that also verified by the sidebars. There's a whole thing, the sidebars and actually trial transcript that I forgot about from trial 1 from a voir dire, where the defense doesn't bring it into the trial, but the defense brings up there was a whole problem between Lank and Brian Albert.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think he was a little scared of him. And obviously, Lank was a longtime friend of Chris Albert. He helped them twice before. He helped Tim Albert get out of trouble. He helped Chris Albert, get out of trouble after he killed somebody by accident in a car accident. So there was a history between them for sure.
Have you ever been in a car accident?
Yes, a couple of times, but nothing terrible.
Driving or passenger?
Driving, I think. Driving.
Yeah, it's scary.
Snow.
It's scary even to hear, to see. Oh my God, when your car loses all control in snow, it's a weird time in your life, that the seconds that are passing as you're sliding across. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, Montana 4-lane highway by myself with trucks, just me and trucks, and I'm sliding, like rotating all the way around.
It's crazy how we're so different with our kids now, but like there's so many times where we should have died according to like our logic now, because our kids don't go anywhere without us knowing exactly where they are and tracking them.
So true.
It's so different.
Yeah. So true. New York City is a little different too, just because you can't just like go outside and go play or whatever, but
Yeah, I always felt like, and it's weird, but like just even a 16-year-old, right? Like, where are they supposed to like kiss girls and hook up? I know they figure out a way, but we at least had parks and you can get away. These kids don't, and they, as smart as they are, they don't have that exposure to the opposite sex as much that we did.
True.
Maybe you were too much, but it's important because you're developing sexually at that age, between 12 and 16. True. It's important, and they're just not getting as much. But I guess nature will find its way. It always seems to work out in the favor.
They'll
of
figure
nature.
it out. Yeah, they'll figure it out. They don't know anything else, right? They're New York City kids. It's all they know. So they figure it out, I'm sure. At Virtual Juror, member of 3 months. Yay, thank you so much for being a member. Sam, you are amazing. I love your passion for the truth, and so are you. Thank you for being here. It's annoying. I wish I didn't have so much drive. Like you were saying, Vince, like, why do I care this much? I don't know, but I just have to know. It's like crazy. I just have to know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how else to say it, but all right, let's take our break because there's a lot more of these and we'll never get to a break if we don't. So let's take our break now and then we'll come right back in 10 minutes and we'll do this. And in the meantime,
10 minutes.
And I don't want to forget, is that what we said? I don't forget how long it's been. 5 minutes?
No, I know the video is only 3 or 4 minutes, but yeah.
Well, I'll play another one right after, but I want everybody to see this because it's a big announcement for Mr. Yannetti, who was anointed Massachusetts Attorney of the Year, which is a huge honor. Well-deserved, right? Like, he deserves it. He freaking had the case of a lifetime, right?
Yeah, certainly.
So, yes, certainly. Okay, so let me find that while.
And I sent you one too for halftime.
Oh, you did? Is that in my?
Yes.
Okay, I will
Inbox.
put that up. Here we go. Let me get this on the screen. Sorry, you guys. All right, here it is. Okay, we will be back shortly. Let me get this off. There we go. Bye, Vince. And let me play this, and we will be back very, very soon.
Daily Yanity, yeah, you know my style. The only member of the team to make Bev smile. If your eyes are bad, I will offer you my readers, but they ain't gonna help when I impeach ya. I'm the reigning hot Mike's sexiest man. All these women in the street, yeah, they know who I am. They see my dimples from a mile away. When they pass me, they scream, Karen Reed was framed. That's right, oh yeah, Beverly said no more, of course. That's right, oh yeah, so my natural response was to say, of course. Come on! Michael Proctor said he truly hates me. I got a question, Proctor, how's life treating you lately? They say everybody loves you, Nettie, but if you ask me, my heart belongs to Baba Leslie. That's right, oh yeah, they say Karen committed the crime. That's wrong, oh no, to quote myself, we now know that was a lie. Come on! Office in Salem, Dedham, and Boston. Something in Norfolk County is rotten. Morrissey had me saying that is outrageous. A new DA might be what could save us. I've been biting my tongue for so long. Fuck you, Hank. Think you're better than me. Fuck you, Hank. You are not lolly. Fuck you, Hank. Think you're better than me. Fuck you, Hank. But why don't we see? I'm a basic kind of guy. I really don't need to flaunt. Smoking 6 packs a day and I'm happy as a hog. All I do is mumble. Do I really need any lungs? The trial one jury was just like me. They were hung. Trial 2 came around and you wanna bench me? Not one guilty vote was embarrassing to see. Need to remind you that my jury was 9-3. Take your little OUI and get about the scene. Fuck you, Hank, Hank. Think you're better than me? Fuck you, Hank. You are not lolly. Fuck you, Hank. Think you're better than me? Fuck you, Hank. Well, why don't we see? Oh, I know what will get us the win. Ask Rich about his fucking ham sandwich again. That'll prove this beyond all reason. reasonable doubt. Oh, who am I kidding? This shit is around.
It appears that I made a mistake.
You took this case so damn personally, and I hold that opinion to a scientific certainty. You weasel face, fuck, bet, Arkham Major P. Even with all the help you got from Beverly, standing ovation. What a robust cross. Psych. Your nerdy ass looks so fucking lost. Just think, $500,000 was all it cost to get our asses kicked in the fucking law. Fuck you, hey, hey. Think you're better than me? Fuck you. You are not lolly. Fuck you, Hank. Think you're better than me? Fuck you, Hank. Well, why don't we see? Why don't we see? Hey. Waiting for your response, Becky. Yeah, yeah.
Did I mention my jury was also hung?
And now here's a word from our sponsor.
Manscaped 5.0 Ultra, the ultimate upgrade. Nothing says anything like a perfectly groomed package. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I say this all the time, John. Even though it really isn't real, it gives you the illusion of extra inches. There's not one guy I know that doesn't want.
You don't want to hear that, Vince. I'm just gonna kill you. I didn't sanction that, in case anybody was asking. Yeah, that wasn't me. That was all Vince. So that wasn't me. Hi guys, you have me now. Oh, here he is. Like,
you know how hard I worked? Come on, let's finish that video up.
No way, I don't want.
Oh man, I had to pay for actors to go in a football locker room. We had a halftime break.
Oh my God, you're insane. We'll have.
Well, I want to thank Manscaping for BR. Number one sponsors. Emily loves when we talk about your dad's shaved balls, and you hate it so much.
Oh my God, it's so disgusting. Oh my God.
Oh, I put so much work in that ending. I'm so mad right now.
Well, you can play it in, some other time when I'm not here to have to bear witness. It's so gross.
Who doesn't want to talk about their dad's balls?
Oh my God. Ew, stop. I can't. It's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Vince is kind of like the brother I don't have to torture me. That's like his role in all of our lives, I think. It's
I don't know what it is about me that just likes to annoy you girls. Actually, in those stupid videos on Twitter, they say that when men do that, they actually like you. You hear like the pulling of the girl's hair, something like that. But yeah.
Yes. Well, like in third grade, I think that's generally the thing.
Well, I got to shut my door. Hold on 1 second. I can't believe you cut off that. I'm so mad right now because there was a good ending to that.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, we can watch it maybe later before we go. How's that?
Hold on 1 second.
All right. I don't know where he just went, but Rogue Baby 1 sends $19.99. Finally caught alive with Loophole Lawyer. I love both of you so much. Did Jen already go near John to see anything? No. The answer is no. So the question that is being asked, did Jen already go near John to see anything by the time she's on with 911 operator? Yes, she absolutely said, oh my God, this is a scene. She did, and I have tried countless times to try to hear it a different way. But actually, because of Vince, I went back in last night and I listened again and I heard more that I hadn't heard the first time. So a couple of things, you have to make sure you're listening to the enhanced version. There's version from court. It's not the enhanced version. Somebody went through and really cleaned it up so you can hear crystal clear. You can hear more, and there's more in there. And it's important because what she says just before and just after some of these things, especially that, is important to pay attention to. She starts to get irritated, and you can see that what she's annoyed about is the fact that she's trying to move things along. She wants this to go quick and get rid of everybody off the lawn. Anyway,
I took it as she was getting annoyed at them being loud, which is not reasonable in a sense because they're trying to save someone's life. Who cares if they're being loud? But I don't know how you interpret it one way or another. But I agree that
either
she
way,
definitely said,
"Oh my God, this is a scene."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which is bizarre, you admit at least.
Yes, 100%.
But no, the answer to your question is no. I mean, look, is there a big distance between the flagpole and the car? No. But she's not over there next to him. She's by the car. She's so that she can talk on the phone, right? So she's not next to Carrie and Jen. She's a little bit further back. So no, she has not. And like I said, this is a friend. It's not a stranger. If it was a stranger and you just roll up on a body and someone says, oh my God, I think he's dead, you might say, I think he's dead. Maybe you say it once just because that's what you're feeling. But to say it 3 times, wave off CPR and not, and this is somebody she says she loves, and I believe her when she said it. I think she does think she loved him for sure. It's so unlikely. I can't even communicate how unlikely. So it communicates prior knowledge. How much prior knowledge, to the extent of the prior knowledge, but there's more. I mean, you could also admit, Vince, despite her heart rate, the other thing about Jen, there are phone calls over to her sister. There's the one right after Karen calls, like 5:04 or whatever it is, that is answered. And I think, oh my God, is it 40 seconds? I'd have to go back. There's a number of phone calls that are shady in the middle of the night, and I can't remember the exact amount of time, but it's long enough to say, hey, we're coming, or we're on our way, or whatever. Nicole says, I don't know anything about it. She says she doesn't know anything about it. Obviously lying her face off about it. So that's another example of prior knowledge. I mean, why would you call your sister and then lie about it? It's the phone call is not the shady part. The shady part is the lying about the phone call.
Yeah, I didn't know that she lied about that one too. It was weird that she was lying about the butt dials. That never occurred that way, and I'm not sure why she would lie about that. It's natural to call over to the house and say, "Is John there? Or did you see John?" Because they were there and they were waiting for him.
Right, and she says, Matt reminded me that they were out front, right? She calls Tom Beatty, and she called this person, and she called that person. But the thing is, the defense didn't catch it until the second trial. And I think because of that, she was blindsided a little bit by it when it came time in the second trial, when actually Jackson confronts her about it. So I don't think she was prepared for it. And she does a horrible job of navigating that during the trial. Really bad.
Did you hear Carrie Roberts call to the police station initially looking for John?
I did. Yes, many times.
What were your thoughts on that?
It's very hard let me say it this way. I've heard it probably 3 times, maybe 4. I've never tried to dissect it. So I want to be fair. Okay. I've not sat down and said, okay, is she telling the truth? My sense, just from afar, is that she really doesn't think there's any reason to be worried at all. That she's like, John's probably on somebody's couch. And that she kind of feels like it's an afterthought. She's doing it just whatever. That's the way it seems to me.
Yeah, it is weird. No, it's so weird. I put out that video about the audio calls that Dever was taking that morning, and you would not believe the amount of support that she got on the comments.
Really?
It was and even myself, when I'm listening to her, I'm like, this is a quality person that cares. She followed up. She made sure that Karen was getting sectioned properly, and she called back the parents. They hung up, and she calls them back. I mean, a lot of times these government employees can't wait for you to get off the phone, so they'll never follow up ever. Mm-hmm. So it is so odd to see her in that situation, which is critical. And then on the stand, the way she acted is totally different. And that gives us opportunity that maybe one day she'll come back around to the person that she was and help us out the best she can, whatever she does know about what's going on. But there's a complete difference between the two.
So interesting you bring that up. Emily was really helpful for kind of working this through with me, because I was really a little bit confused after listening to all those calls. It made me realize that there was always something like a dissonance for me listening to her on the stand. Part of the problem is that on one hand, she's trying to toe this line of being honest, and she's unrelenting. Like the judge at one point says, you have to speak from personal knowledge, not from what is likely, because she tries to say that she doesn't know where the monitors for the Sally port are in the Canton PD. So she's like, well, yeah, there's probably a monitor. And the judge is like, no, you're being asked from memory. And she's like, she thinks about it for like 30 seconds. And then, she's like, and finally she says, all right. And then she says, yes, right there, they are. So the point is that she's trying to be honest, and you really see that in her. So it made me wonder whether or not she wasn't telling the truth in a way, whether or not she really didn't see them in the Sally Port for a wildly long time earlier in the day. And that the reason why she said to the feds, because think about it, if she had trouble like that lying in this situation, you think she lied to the feds? Like, probably not, right? So to me, she came up with this false memory thing because she was like, well, I must not have seen them in the car with Karen's car. I must have seen them in the car with somebody else because the defense put out information that the car wasn't there yet. So in her mind, she's like, yep, must have been a false memory, when in actuality, what it was her with seeing them with a different vehicle in the Sally Port.
That's interesting. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So it wasn't as if she's being nefarious on the stand. She literally saw Berkowitz and Brian Patrick in the Sally Port for a wildly long time, just wasn't with the car because it technically wasn't there when she was there. And there's always a way to prove if she is gone by her swipe card, then yeah, we saw that we saw her time card. It wasn't swiping, it just said the hour. So it doesn't indicate whether she's truly there or not. But I think her shift ended at 3 to 3, maybe 3:15. But that would make it seem like she wouldn't be there. And it's not really plausible that she would be there if she worked all the way through the night and then stayed there. So I agree with you. And it was so interesting to hear people like have to force and say, yeah, this is a woman who's probably the best cop they have there in terms of being diligent and following up. I mean, you look at Sarah, if he gets to the scene and, he's like, hey, what's going on? Drugs? It's like just like a guy you want to hang out with. I love him for that.
Totally.
Like, he's like a cool dude. You can watch sports with him, but I don't know how he's on the force and to be a first responder. And I'm putting him down. I get it. But yeah, she was very diligent in what she was doing.
Right. 100% correct. I agree with you. Yeah. And because of Emily and going back and actually realizing that the taillight pieces really do not match the taillight pieces that were at the scene, that is very likely what they did do. They likely took very small pieces of taillight from some other place for the first search, the CERT team search. Then when they went back, and as you pointed out with Berkowitz and Proctor in the days that follow, that's when they got greedy and threw down the 42 pieces, saying that the snow melted and it was under the snow, right?
Yeah, and you know what? The videos that we got from the search now utilizing Corey is that it's so clear that if there were pieces there, they would have walked all over them. Didn't have to shovel for any of this. And that's where Lally was sort of a genius with regard to that picture, because that picture makes it seem as if, yeah, clearly there could be taillight underneath there and no one would ever know. But if you look at it in actuality, they didn't have 2 to 3 inches, right? By the time 6 a.m. rolls around. Same as my wife probably, right? 3 inches maximum.
I don't know about that part, but you're absolutely right about the other thing. 100%. Rogue Baby 1 sends a super sticker. Thank you so much for Rogue Baby. Look at the cute little baby, cute baby. Eagle Eye, know you're right, sends $9.99. Is it possible someone in the house brought phone out to Lank? Absolutely possible. Yes. Isn't there a person walking quickly from the house down the driveway towards the street, hand off to phone? I could be wrong. Thank you both. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely possible. There is, I think, 490, maybe 400 and something steps right at 602. Could that person have run out of the back of the house so we don't see them and handed the phone off to Lank as he's coming towards the house? Definitely. And as I said, his words, just from my first analysis go around, do indicate prior knowledge. But you'll see, I'm going to put out a video so you guys can see with your own eyes what I mean. There's a lot of walking going on, and it doesn't exactly line up with the timeline. Now, here's something else that's important too. There's no timeline on any of these videos. You have to find a way to timestamp them correctly. So what I did was I took Alan Jackson's timestamps from the trial and used them to create a timeline. But you'll get to see it all. So it's crazy though how there's no timestamp on any of this. Do you think that's bizarre?
So It is bizarre. So to give people some behind the scenes thing, when Corey got all the documents, she sent us the link and I volunteered to get it up. Some of the videos that we received are not in raw form where you can just click on them and they will open. They have their own player. And that was that Pequot Farm. Where was that location and why was that video important, if at all?
So interesting. Is this the one that... Is this the same one that
I think it was they were claiming that it was inverted. Yeah.
Yeah, the inverted sign. Yeah.
And I want to make a point about this too. If you have camera systems, you know that just because it's inverted doesn't mean there's anything nefarious. A lot of times you do that because you get a better view in your mind. It always can be reversed, obviously. And I really don't believe in the first hearing that they tried initially to do that intentionally. That's my opinion. I know that a lot of these cameras, including my own, have been mirrored and the things come out differently. And if you know, then you can flip it around.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I'm glad you said that because, like the default setting on, for example, my Zoom is mirror. So anything that I put up, I don't know. It's so weird,
like, see,
right?
like your words in your back are not readable. They're reverse. I don't know why it is like that.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. But I'm glad that happened because it helped me to see that the default setting is mirror and it helped me to understand that video. So the theory about that video, to explain to some people, I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, you'll start to see it. It's been on X. Aussie Insider put up a video about it. The challenge with that video is I think it was supposed to show, like before trial one, the Commonwealth had this theory they were trying to put out that Karen left John's house at 5:10 when she backs into the Traverse, and that she went to 34 Fairview and then pretended like she didn't go there and went and saw Jen. I don't know what the value of that would be. That was their theory. That was also what Brian Tully was trying to say about Karen too. So that was what they put forth in the first trial. They were trying to suggest that she was lying and she originally goes right to 34 Fairview and then goes to Jen's and then gets with Carrie and they go to One Meadows, whatever. I think that was supposed to prove that, but it doesn't prove that. So I don't know what the point of that camera is.
Yeah, and then there's another camera, Sam, that had to deal with, Casey's Corner. The quality is so weird. And I can't believe what was happening, but I seen it with my own eyes. I had to screen record it because it had its own player that I couldn't export easily. So I just screen recorded it, which is fine. Like there was no loss in real quality. But when I would put it into the editing system, after a while, it would go blurry. It was so fucking weird and it happened multiple times. I've never seen this before in my life where the video would go blurry after a screen record. There could be a way to do that. For example, like YouTube TV, if you watch it in Chrome, you can't take any live recordings of it. There's ways around it, but even if you watch it on your phone, you take a screenshot, it goes black. I don't know if they did that with this shitty Casey's Corner system that they had. It's not a normal system and it's not a great camera. But I will say this, that there's another view from another camera on Casey's Corner that I have to get out. I haven't looked at it yet. I saw that it's definitely a different view. It's closer to the snow, and that hopefully will go out by tomorrow. We'll have it up. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we have a Google Drive set up that Corey got all the documents, all the file documents basically, and we're uploading them as we go. I don't know how much more we have left, but I did find another video from there.
Oh, that's awesome to know. I wonder, somebody should really, and it's boring as hell. It's going to be a very boring job. But if you actually do go through and if you can see well enough to be able to see the vehicles, who knows what you'll see. I don't know exactly where those cameras are. We'll have to figure that out too. But a lot of people say they either are not driving around or they are driving around, and we might be able to find out one way or the other from those cameras. I don't know where they are. So, Bite My Bit sends $5. Can we talk about how abnormal that police response to Cop Down was? So bizarre. Very bizarre. What is your take on that?
I love things like that where you're part of a group or brotherhood, and if they say officer down, like you drop everything, right? Like that's somewhat comforting in this type of line of work, I would imagine, where you have that type of camaraderie. And I believe everyone was coming down hard on Jen for not saying that it was a police officer down initially in the 911 call. Although you did hear Carrie Roberts mention it multiple times at 5 o'clock when she's calling the PD. So is that what they're saying, that there wasn't a huge response? escalated
No.
response?
I think so. Okay, so first of all, the CPAC unit originally doesn't take the call, and I have no idea why. That is very odd to me, and I would love to, try to understand that more. They try to tell us, Proctor says that it's because they thought it was a medical situation, and only once he investigated it around 10 o'clock when he leaves his house, that's when they decide that, it's more than that. It's, homicide, whatever. So, but it's clear that, right, that Lank right out the gate, because he calls CPAC dispatch and says, I don't know if he was in a fight or whatever. So, and he says it twice that he's a police officer. Twice he tells them. He doubles down and he says, I need to make it clear. I don't know if I already told you this, but he is a Boston cop. So there's no question that they got that message. They then later try to say they didn't even know he was a cop. It's very bizarre that he was a cop. And there's no question. Remember, these are Canton cops that do the initial investigation, if you want to call it that. And to me, it is all about Brian Albert. These guys were all very acutely aware of where they were. They were dancing on eggshells. Remember the call? That was actually really interesting. One of the first calls that Dever gets, that we got from the new dump, was Gallagher. He's like, Kelly, it's Paul. And he explains, or he's like, where is this? He keeps referencing his house. Right. And he's talking about Brian Albert, but he doesn't use the name Brian. He just keeps saying his. Is it even at his house? That was really interesting. Again, and he's like, the chief is coming down on me, or the lieutenant is coming down on me about it. I think that's what he says.
I think that there's a chance that he's referring to John when he's saying his, because someone said in the video that you can see a cop car, and I looked at it when Karen's leaving, I believe. At some point, you see a cop car when somebody's leaving.
This might
I
be
don't
a
know
different.
if I'm conflating the two times.
You are. I'm talking about
Okay.
like an audio call, not a video.
No,
call.
I know
Like,
it's
this
an
is
audio
just-
call. I know
Okay.
exactly what you're referring to. I just don't know if people were saying, well, we could see an officer's car. I think he went to One Meadows initially. Gallagher.
Right. I hear what you're saying.
I don't know why I think that, but I always thought that he was.
Gallagher did go to One Meadows initially. That is true. He does
Okay.
go to the wrong, or he at least thinks it's the wrong address. But
Right.
no, because he says, is it even? Oh, maybe. I don't know. I have to go back and listen to that again. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, I
don't
know
know.
everyone
He's
loves
talking-
Dever, but she kept giving the wrong address. She kept using the Asian house address, 32 Fairview. That's the only thing I could see that's wrong. I was going to say the
Yeah.
Oriental house, but I don't know if your audience is there for those jokes, but I'm allowed to make those jokes because I have an Asian friend.
Okay. Yes, there's no question that it's a weird response, but I also want to say, bite my bits. There's another piece too, which is that once Proctor takes over, and starts to believe that Karen Reed did this, he's on a warpath because of the fact that he's a cop, because of the fact that he took in these kids and the situation with the sister. That's part of what he's saying on his group text to his buddies. And he's even admits there's a lot of emotion for him. So I think it's kind of ironic. They upped the charges because this was a cop. They wanted to so badly to put this on her because he was a cop. So it was like this weird kind of double-edged sword because he was a cop. On one hand, they were afraid of Brian Albert. On the other hand, later on, they used that as a reason to make sure that they charged Karen, which was really stupid. Which was really, really stupid. If they hadn't upcharged, she might have pleaded out, right? I mean, it would have been the smarter thing to do, I would think.
Well, we're glad that everything had to happen the way it did in order for us to truly solve this. And obviously, we're not done yet. But there will be a time where you will see the arrest of Brian Patrick Higgins. There has to be, because there's just too much out there that he's going to be able to walk free from all this. It's just the beautiful thing about murder in terms of the law is that there is no statute of limitations. And as we saw in that case that Melanie Little was following, it can happen 20 years later, 30 years later. It's not something you want to live with if you actually did the crime.
Yeah, the Faust case. Oh my God, what a nightmare that is.
Yeah, I know. I didn't watch enough of it to make a determination. I loved the attorney doing the cross-examinations. Miss Judy showed me the case for the first time. She thought I was gonna like it because of all the the sexual stuff. I loved the way that attorney was cross-examining the old boyfriend. Yeah, and in that case, I mean, look at all the marks on that guy's hands, and that's from punching something. You could just see it's a different type of markings. And yeah, unfortunately, if it's untrue, that defendant was found guilty and sentenced to life for the rest of his life.
I know. It's an absolutely horrible situation. I'm working on that. I'm going through his testimony now. Chris Melton is the boyfriend. Fiona Hewen 2140 sends 5. I'm not sure what, but 5 something. I bought a butt dial t-shirt, and you did. Oh, yay. That's awesome. I hope you have fun with the crossword. It was fun to make. I had such a good time making it. It was funny because my daughter found me one that somebody had made, and there were I thought it just could be a little, I liked it. It was so much fun, but I thought, oh, there could be this, we could do this. So we made, her and I made a new one. So hopefully people like it. It was fun to make.
And thank you for that super chat. I need to account for that when I make my demand for money for Sam. I should get a percentage of all these sales.
Which you mean we don't really make money on the clothes. It's just for fun.
Right.
It really, really is.
Sure.
Okay. Good Trouble Studio sends $2. You guys are mentioned on the Lank Veriscope. Oh, we are? Well, that's exciting. Good to know. I have to go back and listen to the Lank Veriscope for sure. I wanted to have Veriscope on. Maybe I'll invite him back. I reached out. I don't even know if he got back to me because it was a while ago. I got distracted. So I'd love to have him on, though. It's so helpful. Like I said, I'm so grateful to those guys. Like anyone else doing that kind of work, it's so helpful because, again, it's it helps me to feel like I'm more sure of my instincts and, which is invaluable. So welcome, new member, Armurf 1102. Beverly Olivia Bailey 6192 sends $9.99. I'm thinking 400 plus steps in that short period may coincidence with chest compression if the phone really was under him.
Yeah, I don't think it would register that way.
Right.
Just based upon my new research, and I had no idea before this, and I still look at my phone today, and it's a later model. I can't figure out when these steps are being recorded because I don't have a special app for it. I just utilizing Apple Health, and I don't check it that often. But I want to do it in real time. I want to see steps in real time, and I don't see that or can't figure out how to do it. Maybe I'll ask David Unetti when we get him on here. He knows how to handle all the iPhone technicalities, how easy it is to change dates and things like that. But you said you're going to try and get Dave Unetti on the show.
An iPhone 11. Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, I did actually.
Or you can get an iPhone 11 on the show. We can have him or David Unetti, either one.
Yes, I invited David.
Oh, you did?
Go ahead. I did invite him, but I haven't heard back, so we'll see.
Well, hey, Paisan, you got to come on here and talk to us about the trial because no one asks him really the tough questions. I'm obviously not going to offend them, but I do want to know, when did it hit them that they missed Brian Higgins threatening John at the bar? That's got to be a huge moment that no one's ever asked the guy. They always come on and they ask him like those, other questions. I think he may not, he may be hesitant to say because attorneys hate to say that we miss things, but it's obviously going to happen in a case like this because there's so many eyes on it.
Oh, and there's so much evidence.
Oh, yeah. Well, I said it to either you or everyone, the group, or just Emily, just to annoy her. But Unetti cross-examined Chris Albert and never asked him about an arm grab of one of the 10 people that could have killed John O'Keefe, right? So there's clearly something going on. That arm grab could be completely innocent, by the way. I've watched it, and I can view it both ways. But there were no questions about it. But you asked them about a cartoon. And I'm not putting you down. I get it. It's so easy for me to sit here and criticize this.
Yeah.
But let's get real. I mean, these are the weird questions where if you had Chris Albert on again, you wouldn't ask him you would never mention Nebercracker. That helps Chris Albert. That helps them. And it shows the truth that they were friends. You don't have an enemy's number in your phone. You don't watch an enemy's yard. And I will always respect John for bringing that candy to that kid. And I know it seems like so trivial, but if you grew up in the white suburbs, like I guess you did and I did,
Mhm.
and there are assholes. There are people that torture you. There are never crackers of the world, and those for some reason every neighborhood had them, and they still scare you to this day. If a ball went over there, it was gone, right? But then I couldn't imagine growing up and getting yelled at. Now we've had guns pulled on us, not in a gang type way, but from an owner if we were playing hide and seek and they found us, right? It's happened a few times. We weren't doing anything wrong. We're just hiding and seeking or hooking up with a girl, something, whatever we're doing. But either way, to have a neighbor do something kind like that at that age is so important in a boy's development that I always respected John for hearing that. Meaning, like, he got yelled at, he was scared, and then John brought him over candy.
Well, we don't. But see, I don't know. I like the story you're telling, but I don't know if any of what you're saying is true. And here's the thing. You made this point before. I think a lot of that behavior on the part of Yannetti was being motivated by what Karen Reed was telling them. Because Karen immediately, and I don't even remember how we learned this, but I'm pretty sure she came from her in one of the documentaries, that she's the one that said that as soon as she heard from, whoever, Scanlon, that the nephew, that she remembered some kind of interaction with John and with Colin. Now, I don't even know. According to Chris, take this with a grain of salt, Colin wasn't the one that the problem was with. It was with the younger one. Could be, maybe. I have no idea. But it seems to me like, to your point, what they were reacting to was what Karen had told them, which was, there was this issue. Maybe it did get squashed and maybe it was no big deal. But it seemed like that was what was motivating Yannetti, was thinking that Colin was the one and that it came from Karen. Now, I don't know that, but
you're 100% right. That's what he had to prove. And when you step back and look at the forcing that is going on in a lot of these arguments, to me now it's easy to see, but back then that's all they knew. They had to have Colin being at the house at the time and for some reason attacking John. And I always give Turtleboy credit. I remember him saying that even if that was true, that's not motive to attack someone at that age or to kill someone, obviously. So we couldn't figure out, and that was the whole issue with trial one. Everything was focusing on Colin and nothing on Brian Higgins for the most part. Brian Higgins got off. I mean, Alan Jackson went on vacation and gave the cross-examination to Yannetti, the second part. That's how nonchalant it sort of was.
Wait a minute, was Yannetti?
I'm almost certain that's true. Emily, you could check. Oh yeah, that's weird. Yannetti does the second part. It was over a vacation, and I think in the sidebars you actually get the real reason why. But I mean, if something's so critical, generally you would stay and not go on vacation. In fact, I think the way I remember it is Alan Jackson referred to his wife as his partner, and just for some reason that bothers the fuck out of me when guys do that, and sometimes girls do it too in the city. Like, I don't know if it's just a weird thing that I don't know why I'm bothered, but it does bother me. And he said that. So then I had to go look up. I'm like, well, what's the deal with it? I think he married like a younger girl or something, or another attorney. Like, there's something. I don't know why my brain goes on that path. But either way, the point was that I never knew when I first started that you couldn't interchange attorneys mid cross-examination. I know it seems stupid, but even in an arbitration, most of my things were done in private, in a building downtown or somewhere in a large city, in a closed environment. It's called an arbitration. There's 3 arbitrators. There's no jury. There's no judge. It's just 3 arbitrators. But these are wars going on over financial stuff, right? So I didn't realize that you couldn't just tag your partner in and just go in. When I first started, you have to be the attorney. You're the only one that can make the question, ask the questions, and that's it.
You know that.
But but Alan Jackson does, I believe, ask to have Yannetti do the second part because of potential vacation or something. With
Interesting. I'm going to have to go back.
I could be wrong on that.
I did not remember that. No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember, though, that there was a point, I thought he was sick, but again, I don't remember the details. It was a long time ago. I do remember there being a point where there was a handoff to Jackson because he was out for the day, but I didn't remember it being with Higgins. That's really interesting that it was with Higgins.
Yes, if you go back and watch Higgins, you'll see the last part. There's definitely a second day. And then it was Yannetti asking the questions. I don't know if you recall, but Yannetti is asking about removing the phone to the military base, things like that. I know Alan Jackson asked that too, but eventually Yannetti follows up and ends with that.
I'm gonna have to go back. I need to go back on Higgins anyway at some point. It's just there's so much here. I mean, so much here. I was already inundated before the document dump, and now with that, it's like it's just it's endless.
Was there any of those text messages? There was 25 that we saw that were numbered between John and Brian Patrick. Were there any that stuck out to you that you didn't see before that were just wild? I guess for me, you had the alcohol pictures and you had them talking about girls. Does that offend the people? Like you could get a glimpse of who John was, and I have a very similar personality with regard to jokes. Like it's funny because they're both either looking for alcohol or looking for girls. Like that's what guys do, right? At 20 years old. But it's funny to see them doing it, which is fine.
50 years old, yes.
Yeah, and if you have a single guy friend and you're in a couple, you're always trying to get them a girl. I don't know what it is psychologically, but you always want to have a girl there as opposed to a third wheel. Meaning, so it is something that you do. And one thing I did notice, Brian was asked to come over a few times. He never did until after Karen started communicating with him. Now, I don't know if Brian is such this poon hound where he will only go if there's a chance to get girls. He doesn't seem like that.
No.
I know guys like that. I'm sort of like that. But and he's doing that on some level. He never went to Brian. I don't think he ever went to John's house before that time.
He did not. Yes, correct. This is all true. Yes. But I don't think I think it's just adding, I think it's added motivation, but I don't think that it's, it was like he was due. How many times can you say no before you have to say yes? And at the same time, he had Karen on his ass. So I think it just was the right time for him to go. And you had the last game of the season, even though he doesn't care about football. It was like, all right, I can show up for the second half and, that'll be it. I'll make my appearance and leave.
And what I'm speaking about is Brian's asking if there are any girls there. And John's saying that it's all guys, they're all gay guys. And then he makes a joke how Higgins will get along with them because they're gay, implying that he's gay. Because guys love calling other straight guys gay. It's just something we do. I don't know why, but that shows that there's a level of friendship there. You don't just initially call a guy gay. You wait till you're friends with him, then you call him gay.
They're friendly.
If he's not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't know any of that, and that was interesting to see. But now that we spoke today, it does dawn on me that all of a sudden they're not talking at all about drinking, going anywhere, doing anything after that morning.
When is the last text? This is important. When is the last text that John, is it the morning after the Patriots game?
Morning after, so they're referencing the XO Hennessy, whatever the fuck that is. I'm sure you know, right?
I do, yeah. Of course, it's Hennessy. You know what Hennessy is.
I don't even know. I don't. Samantha, I've never even seen Hennessy. I've never tasted it. I can't even do a shot. I'm the biggest. I don't know what Hennessy is.
But you must have heard of the word. It's
I
alcohol.
heard the word, but I don't know what it means. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it mixes
cognac,
with.
Technically. I
don't even know what
Hennessy
that is.
Technically cognac.
I'm not a hard alcohol guy at all.
Gotcha.
I'm barely a guy. I'm trying to convince Corey I'm not a guy. She doesn't fall for it, though.
You're a guy, but go ahead.
Oh, so did you think that people would be offended because at one point they're calling each other gay and then they're talking about lesbians and girls and maybe Higgy's so hot he can convert a lesbian, as if that's possible? Do you think that would be offensive in these guys' mind and Karen's mind because she's really running this show, that they're trying to be politically correct?
Yes. I think that's why they didn't.
Out?
Yes. I think that's why they kept it out. It kind of made John look bad. A little bit.
Yeah. Does it? I mean, I think we try too hard in these cases to not be natural. I love that you're just natural. You're going to have flaws. It just comes off so much cleaner. You saw in the Adelson case where everyone loved the killer because he was honest, right? When you have Tato and Tuto, the little guy that comes out of prison, but he could tell the truth, and it's just so refreshing to hear that.
It's true.
The same thing to me with someone like a Lucky, where I get emotional about. It's like you're hearing authenticity. And that is the best thing you could do as a witness, even if it harms you. And I think Karen, going in as a type A person, she didn't want to disclose all this. She didn't want to say that Higgins was texting and she was trying to hook up with them. She didn't want to say any of this, but we needed to know this because we went down this other path of the Colin and all that other bullshit. We should have been on the real person initially.
And it's more than that. I mean, to be fair, it's more than that, because it wasn't just that she didn't disclose about what had happened, that there was the flirting, and that even that night she was working her way, flirting and getting closer to Higgins. There was also the fact that it honestly appears to have not occurred to Karen Reed. And somebody, I think you pointed this out about the Jeep earlier today, just that she must have known, because she knew Brian had the Jeep. It's confirmed by those text messages that she must have known that that was Higgins's Jeep, that she must have known he was there. Maybe that's part of why she doesn't want to go in, and would have known immediately that Brian Higgins was in that house. She knew it, right? So how is it that at no time later, after the fact, in the days that follow, and she's working with a PI right away. Within 24 hours, I think she actually has a PI because of Yannetti that she's going out and doing stuff with. How do they not put it together at some point in the last year, in the year before the first trial, that he could have been a suspect?
It's a question that is a statement. And they say that 75% of questions are statements. And you're telling us exactly that she should have said this. She should have done this. And she should have told us all initially that this is the number one suspect with the oldest motive known to the human species, is killing a rival male. Right? There's nothing greater. Right? And I'm not saying, Brian Higgins, you intended. I'll never believe you intended to kill John O'Keefe. I don't believe that. However, there was a conflict. And Kevin, my new best friend, I don't want to talk down to him, but when you're looking at a bar fight situation, yeah, either they're going to fight and everyone's going to watch, or there's something else going on. And he questions, why didn't Karen bring any of this up? I mean, it's a valid
It's a good question.
Yeah. Now, I don't think she saw what was going on. I don't know. But then again, you enlightened me as to what she was doing. And now I see what the hell she's doing. And I understand why she's doing it. And I had made the statement, Sam, that it was not Brian Higgins getting ghosted, but it was John O'Keefe getting ghosted by Brian Higgins. And now I'm thinking about it. I said that, but it's true. He did get ghosted.
Did he,
telling
though?
you, I know the last text, and I'll go through and obviously we can confirm it. The last one before you coming here is about the controller and XO Hennessy, which is
From
that
John.
morning. Yeah. Between both of those two.
But so John is the last person to send the text. Brian Higgins does not respond, is what you're
Oh,
saying.
I see what you're saying. No, I don't know. I don't know that to be true. I just know that morning they're conversing, and then from never again will they converse about drinking and girls and going out about anything. And that's what Brian Higgins, if he was intending to kill John, he wouldn't have sent that "you coming here" text, because it's so incriminating. After not speaking with the guy for how long, and speaking directly with his girl, meeting his girl, kissing his girl, you text "you coming here" after you threaten someone.
Yeah. No.
I want to put on everyone's earmuffs, because
there's no intent. No.
African American, please, is what I'll say.
This is at Brian Albert's home with his children there. Like, there's no intent. A police officer does not want to kill people with their kids in the house. Like, they're at their home, their personal home. Like, they are cops. They are smart enough. They are smarter than that. As much as I don't, wouldn't like to believe that. Clearly they are. They're getting away with it to this point, right? And so Mark is asking sort of an interesting question. I don't know why what brought this up, but Mark is asking, do you really think the Alberts are swingers? That could answer why they are so tight-knit.
No, I don't believe that at all. I don't think any of these are swingers. I know swingers, they are not swingers.
No, they're not. I agree with that 100%. There are a lot of things, but those are not. I don't think that's on the list.
Yeah.
Really. She whispers, no one is coming out. Oh, okay. Excellent. So I think I know where that is in the call. This is the 911 call I think you're talking about. There's a moment that I just heard for the first time right before today, before I had to do the open. And I think I know exactly where it is. I'm going to go back and listen for it. Thank you for saying that, because I wasn't sure what she's saying, but it is interesting. Because she was looking for help, probably, right? Like, she was probably looking for help. Like, somebody get out here and help me.
I guess that would be a fault of Jen. I know people probably have said it before. I came in late to the show, but Yeah, you would scream to your brother-in-law, help, John's down here. Now, again, doesn't mean that she's guilty or not guilty, but that would be something that I would want to see in theory.
Running inside the house that this is your sister's house. Like, just to put this in, think about a sister, like, what's the first thing you do? You run into the house and you turn all the lights on and you scream and yell and you wake everybody up. This is the first.
You'll trip over Jackie's black boyfriend, and then you'll wake up Jackie.
Yes. Yep. You
is
wake
Jackie
up
married?
No. She's single currently. Totally single. She has some baby daddies.
Black guys for her.
Single.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Well, if you meet anybody, it doesn't have to be black. She's equal opportunity. At Jessie Bell 2732. You're a member. Welcome, new member.
Hey, enough
Jessie.
with these memberships. I get $0 from memberships.
What do you
during these shows.
mean? We have to welcome our new members.
Another one?
Welcome, Mama She 13.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them.
Sacred Justice at Sacred Justice sends $4.99. Karen said the house was dark when they pulled up and it looked like no one was home. Why would it be dark if they were expecting people? What do you think?
This was a lame, quote unquote, after party, and I do believe that it was dark, and I do believe Karen. Now, there is a woman that probably, the FBI agent who seems to be against Karen Reed. I saw her on YouTube. Yeah, I told my wife that whatever filter she's using is working so overtime, because when I saw this woman on that documentary, and no offense to her, but she looked like the Crypt Keeper. I don't know if you know what that reference is.
Jennifer, I do, yeah.
Yeah, but she does bring up a point where she said, ooh, I know why she didn't want to go in that house, because Brian Higgins was in the house. Now, initially I was pissed at her, but then again, sort of, you're kind of bringing me back to that point that she probably did see that. I mean, she would have to have seen the Jeep. She's sitting out there. Actually,
I would think
weird.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, because John knew
Brian
the
Higgins, he didn't park down the street. I don't know, it would be stupid in the park down the street. He didn't even know for certain who was coming over. He didn't want to go there. You see,
you guys,
Brian,
the
he's
other
not
thing is, FYI on this is a terrible place to park. Like, the place that the Jeep, like, allegedly, there's no parking there. Like, that. You have to see this with your own eyes. Look at the Turtle Boy video where he tries to do the backing maneuver. This is not a place to park a car, whether there's a snowstorm or not. There is no room. Like, it's 2 lanes. It's a pretty busy road, actually, because it's a cut through, and there's nobody's parking there. Like, that just dawned on me right now because we talked about it earlier. But I would be shocked if anyone parked in front of the house and went inside, because it's not a place that you would keep your car.
Plus, that driveway is so big, you can put 3 cars in a row. And for those who don't know, we're going to this house, and Sam has promised that her Adonis boyfriend, fiance, will meet us there so I can have some protection. Now, he also claims to having a 12-pack abs that he's able to back that car up at 24 miles an hour. He said he would do it for us, right?
He said he would do it so that we could see what it's like to have somebody backing up by you at 24 miles per hour, like how fast that actually is. He's like, it's insanely fast. There's no way you could clip somebody and not, destroy them and you with that car. He says from the very beginning, because he's a car guy, he was like, this is the most absurd story ever, because 24 miles per hour is so fast that anything that gets clipped or hit or anything sideswiped at that speed at a 7,000-pound vehicle, there's absolutely no way that's what happened.
Is there something psychological about driving backwards, or is it mechanical that 24 miles an hour forward is not a huge issue, but 24 miles an hour, it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably part of it. But also, it is faster than we would think. Because I think when you think about driving, you think about like driving as a relative to like going at 70 on a highway. But if you were driving at 24 miles per hour, just past your house, that's actually pretty fast as you're like, zooming through a neighborhood.
Interesting. So this Adonis is a car guy too?
He's a car guy. Yes. He has... Yes, cars.
Has he met Mr. B yet?
Yes. Yep.
And how'd that go?
Yeah, I told you he's like a good guy. He's like what your dad would want you to bring home. So.
Really?
But this is a good question, Sacred Justice. I don't know the answer to this.
Thank you. Her question?
I think there was a light on, that little light that's like right in front of the garage. I think there is a light on, but it's really like kind of, not well lit. Nora sends $9.99. Thank you, Nora. 26R51. Mr. G70 sends $5. Do you think Jen wanted to be part of the Albert clan and was using John wanted to be part of the Albert clan and was using Brian Higgins as a way in?
No, I just think John was a very placating type guy that was a single bachelor and liked being a part of them, not in a subservient way at all, because when he was challenged, he didn't back down. This is John O'Keefe. And you have to be around guys to know what's going on in this situation with regard to John doing that smile and John doing that dance. That is so physiological, and it's such a response that you get when your body's giving you extra energy because you're getting ready to fight, flight, or freeze, and you literally are getting rid of it in that dancing form, but you're also letting the person know that you're not bothering me, even though they are bothering you, obviously, because you're not calm anymore. You're literally dancing.
All right, let me offer an alternative theory, just hit me right now. However, let's say that you're getting ready to go to the after party. Okay, now I can't imagine the after party at the Alberts is going to be like a crazy rager, but if you are seeing them like, come on, let's go. What if it's the other way around, where it's like you're getting that surge because it's like we're all going to the party after. Now that's lame, I get it, but is that possible?
It could be. It is possible, especially you're really indicating that alcohol was his number one priority or high in his life.
I do think it was a priority.
And if you get to drinking more, if you get to drink more, then yeah. And you notice, I always said this, that the Nick DeGreek and his wife, the wife's like, we're not fucking going anywhere. And that's a smart thing to do. Like, we're not 20. And that party was lame. And Jen knew it. Jen wants things to be good. She's vain on some level, like yourself and your dad are, right? So she wants people to come in. I mean, you have to realize that she's asking Ricky and the two others to come inside. So if you're telling me that John was going up and down 3 flights of stairs and he's already getting beat, you're not going to invite Ricky and those kids in.
No.
She wants them at a party.
No, it didn't happen. It couldn't have happened before Ricky and Heather. Couldn't have happened
That's not
before
what you all
that.
thought. That's not what you all thought before I got here. I mean, it's like 12:21. John's going up 3 flights of stairs. Ozzy's yelling at me from Australia, and it was impossible for any of this to have happened. And then meanwhile, Ricky's out the front for a good 4 to 5 minutes.
Well,
and
I
of
don't
course,
know.
and I have to admit, my new best friend Kevin, I believe his story now that Heather was up when they met at the intersection, but then she fell asleep within 10 seconds, 30 seconds by the time they got there. That's how much I like Kevin a lot. Him and I talk behind the scenes.
That's
Like,
funny.
he wants to do some big debate or something. Did you hear this? I agreed to it, but I didn't read it, Kevin. I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, I want to challenge you guys. And I guess there's some dude that has, I don't know if he was debating, there was a dude debating the Jewish attorney, brother counsel.
Oh, I saw this. I saw it. Yes. I
Yeah,
saw
and
it.
I think he wants that guy and us.
All right.
I agreed to whatever it was.
Okay.
Or it may have been a double date, but you're going. Either way, you're going.
Okay. I can do a debate. That's fine.
Oh no, it's a double date.
A double date debate. I saw that guy on with and I wanted to debate him in real time because he and I have we do agree on some things, but he's just fundamentally
What team is he on?
Well, I mean, he thinks that Karen is a narcissist and that she murdered John. And while he thinks it's okay to rally a defense, he thinks that getting this whole army worked up is taking it too far, and that it's like an evil thing to do, basically, that like to try to defend yourself by working up the public against people actively, knowing that you committed a crime is evil and wrong, and that's why he doesn't like Karen.
Hell no, it's your right as an American to mount the biggest defense you can afford. Same thing with taxes. Really cool. Like our law says that you can do everything in your power to reduce your tax liability legally. Meaning you can spend $10 million to reduce your tax liability to zero if it's legally. So you can do whatever you want. And Karen was fighting for her life. I'm not faulting Yannetti or anybody's. They did what they had to do, was to get her off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's not easy to do.
just to this question that Mr. G70 is asking, I do think though that John had kind of did want to be a part of the, like, I think Brian Albert was thought of as like the cool guy, right? I mean, he is. Think about how he's portrayed on Boston's Finest. He's like the quintessential Boston tough guy. And obviously that's what he wants us to believe. I mean, that's the portrait that he painted on purpose about who he was on national television with Donnie Wahlberg. So sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, I never saw that,
I
but
almost confused them.
I don't think he's a real tough guy. I really don't. I mean, generally tough guys don't tell you that they're tough. They don't show themselves in boxing uniforms. That's not the tough guys that I
But this is the
classify.
He may not be a tough guy, but he wants you to think he is. And
right, there's a difference.
The older, there might be a difference. I think a real tough guy doesn't want to use that power unless they absolutely have to. This is different. I think he's kind of like wants you to be afraid of him. I mean, he has a German Shepherd. Think about what we're talking about. Like, he is doing everything in a quintessential way to seem to the outside world to be scary. Who gets a German Shepherd? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you see what I mean? The whole thing is like, I'm trying to put myself out there in a very scary way.
I think you're confused. It was a mixed breed rescue, Sam, as they classify it.
That you drove all the way to Texas to get?
Please, I'm being facetious. That's the thing. The mixed breed, I think, was the Belgian Malamar, the other like tough dog, that you use. Yeah, there's no rescuing this dog. This is a dog for a purpose, and it was a protection dog. That's what
it was.
You get
a protection dog, right? Correct. Thank you.
I freaking love those other. I can never pronounce the name, and I always ask Belgian Malawa.
Oh, I don't know. Malinois, is that what it is?
Yeah, they're so fucking cool. There's one video where there's a 20-foot fence that they build to keep the dog in. They close the dog into the fence. It literally just goes and jumps right out of the gate. So like they try and gate it off. The dog goes in, right over. I love that dog.
That's so cute.
Like they're so no, but it's not cute. They're made
it's athletic
for war dogs. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that was why it was really helpful also to listen to the dog guy that came on to Melanie's show to talk about it. That would have, if necessary, participated in the second trial, because it did help us to understand the nature of this particular breed, right? Thank you, Jezebel, clarifying that the A is the Australian dollar. So it's just $1. So I can reference it as $1. There's no specific type of different name to allocate it, is what I'm asking, right? Just $1. Yeah? Are we all agreeing?
Yes, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we get from England now? Because I got a few super thanks over the night, but I never know if it's is it the pound
euro?
again, or is it a euro? I don't know.
I think it's a euro, isn't it?
Still? They never went back
know.
to the pound?
I don't think so. I think it's euro. I don't know. Just wanted to say welcome back to David Day. I can't spell that. Day. Is that what it says? David Day. Day J3O. I don't know why I'm so bad at reading names.
You're a great reader.
Thank you for gifting the 5 memberships. I very, very much appreciate it.
No more gifting.
Also, thank you, James on 6181 for gifting a membership. That's awesome. You guys are awesome.
Work to get the PhD on your name? How does that work technically?
What do you mean? How does it work? Like,
I don't understand. Like, you took an exam, then what? Like, do you have to pass it? Do you have to? Are you graduating from somewhere? I don't get it.
So it's just like a medical school. The same exact thing. It's 7 years basically. You do 4.5 of school, then you do the thing that makes me a PhD is I have to do the big research dissertation, as opposed to a PsyD, which is just doing the clinical hours. And then you have to do 3 years of clinical hours, 2 of those years before you graduate, and then 1 year after graduation. And then I'm a PhD, and then 1 more year and I'm licensed to practice.
Do I have to call you Dr. Samantha soon?
Not soon, but yes. Depends on what you think is soon. In 2 years, probably 2 years.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. That'll be. And then when you get to be doctor, you
that.
can just get rid of all the other type. You don't need to. Some people
I can't
do
believe
actually.
Mr. B went to
them,
med school.
Yeah, for like 2 weeks.
But he had to get in though.
Right.
Or did he just show up?
No, they got him in. I mean, like they wanted us all to go to the point where my great grandmother like donated a wing on a medical school in Kansas City with all the kids' names on it, just to be able to get us all in if we wanted to go. It was a big deal.
You're some bougie Sicilian. I never met a bougie Sicilian before.
Well, actually, I was thinking about this before. Yeah, so my father's Sicilian side was not bougie. Like they owned like a tires place.
Yeah, that's the kind
other side were like more. I think they were northern. They couldn't have been northern though, because I'm 50% Sicilian. So it's not. I don't think they are northern. Yeah. Berkshire, BS sends $9.99. You know that he got in so many fights assaulting fellow first responders that they finally had to do something about it, and he went away to some cop prison? No way. Is that true?
I don't know, and I just don't.
How do you know that, though? But wait a minute. That's so important. How do you know this? Think about how important that is, though. Because if Brian Albert is the kind of guy who, when he drinks, some guys are like this. You would admit this. Some guys, when they drink, they just want to fight, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible that that is who Brian Albert is? And if that's true, then this starts to take a different feeling, right? Like, and the only reason why it's hard for me to believe this is all on Brian Higgins. And the reason is because something about his testimony, he is so, remorse-filled. Like there's just something so like overwhelmingly contrite.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because I would never in a million years say a girl planted a kiss on me. Do you know, I'll say how gay that is, but it's just like, it's so oafish. Like, I don't understand how you would testify and say a girl, Samantha planted a kiss on me. It is so weird. Either you're really trying so hard to be something that you're not, and you're faking, and I get that you have to lie here, but why wouldn't you just say you either made out or she kissed me? It's not no one uses the term planted a kiss on me as if I had nothing to do with it, and it was so odd. So that type of behavior, I don't know why I even brought that up. You're talking about Brian Albert and him being a fighter.
Well, no, I was talking about Brian Higgins. I was saying that he was so contrite in the way that he testified.
Yeah,
there's such a sense of like, I just wish I could go back and I just wish this didn't happen. And it just doesn't seem like the kind of defensive that he would have been if it was all his fault.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. And look, we already disclosed that you think that perhaps it was John that was the catalyst in this conflict, right?
I do.
Yeah, and if they did what they did, they're taking a chance that no one ever finds out and this thing works. And maybe they're even taking this chance because they know in the back of their head, I was just defending myself and I didn't intend to kill him.
Well, that is what I think is likely.
Interesting.
So that's a way that I think that all these folks could rationalize their lying pretty easily. Like John was the aggressor. One of the things that made me think that, by the way, is I play this a lot because I want people to keep it front of mind. That video of Chris Albert's wife, sister, Jill Daniels. She gets in the fight. She's the one that Aiden is outside filming at CF McCarthy's. She pulls up in her big white SUV. And she's like,
I like that girl.
Starts screaming and grabs the phone. She got so emotional that she literally could not contain herself. She grabs his phone and then begins projecting all over him, calling him a child. Literally, she's outing her behavior in real time. Like, it's so unimaginable what's happening. But one of the things she says in all of that is, like, why do you care? Like, she's so desperate to stop this. Like, just why do you care? You don't even know him. Like, there's a desperation about these people. It's not self-righteous aggression. Like, they're not the aggressors. They're begging him to stop. Something about that. It feels more like they know they're in the wrong, but there's something else that they know that they can't tell us. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, and it's also, this is a huge changing event for everyone involved, including Alan Jackson. As high profile as he had, no one knew who he was really before
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah.
So your
Everybody.
world changes. You would not believe. Sam, I've represented this guy, and I don't know if I told the story, but the Rent is Too Damn High party, Jimmy McMillan. For 2 weeks, we were as high as you can get. I mean, everyone was calling us. We would walk down the street and everything was going. He ran for governor in 2000 and was it 8 or I forgot the year, whenever it was. And it was so wild. I've never seen this before. Like, and we're back at Sirius and we're there. We're signing the board at Sirius. There's a, if you don't know, if you're going to Sirius Satellite Radio, there's a huge plexi board. I know you know, I'm letting you know, that people sign their names, but we're signing the names. It was wild. Like Oprah's calling our phone privately, literally Oprah calling. Like it was so crazy this for just a week or two. And we couldn't do anything. It was crazy. And so I could imagine at this level now with so much more influence on social media and everyone has a show now that it's wild and things just change completely for everyone, and including these townies who have their whole life. And you finally see Turtle Boy and you got to do something. Your body, she couldn't control herself.
She could not
She
control
had
herself.
to do something, yeah. And I don't know if it's an indicator of guilt or just this pressure of everything coming down. And you finally see someone that you can literally physically take it out on.
Well, I think it was, like I said, at that point, so this was right before the verdict of the first trial. That's when this was in time. And the feeling from Chris too, Chris Jr. So it's all Chris Albert's family and extended, like that's his sister-in-law in this experience, nobody else. It's just them. Julie Nagel, Ryan Nagel, the other Nagel, Sam Nagel. And they're all out there in front on this bench in front of the pizza shop, D&E. And it's like Colin's like this, literally like this, standing the whole time like this, like they're in full on protect. But one of the things that's so obvious is that Chris Sr., so the elder of the children, and Jill Daniels are pleading with Aiden, pleading for him to stop. Because in their mind, he's the one that keeps torturing them, right? And now, of course, keep in mind, and I just want to be clear, like, I didn't know, and I mean, you know, I respect the hell out of Aiden for and thank him endlessly for blowing this case up. And I didn't know who he was at first. It took me 6 months of following the first trial before I knew who he was. I just kept hearing his name. And so I eventually went and tried to figure it out. Like, who is this guy? So then I got the story. But I didn't get attracted to this case because of that. I got attracted through. It's a Massachusetts case. That might be also partly why. But I do think that his story is important because one of the things that the Betterow letters, that the mega motion, that Olivia, that whole document that they worked on, if you go through that line by line, it spells out how much effort, and I'm talking about a full-scale effort that also included a literal stalking, like following him secretly, driving around and following him to try to shut him down. Like they were willing to go to any length. There was no civil suit filed. There was no effort on the, like, it was all criminal. Now, you would think any other normal person, this guy's screaming and yelling that you're a murderer. He's coming to your football, your kids' basketball, soccer games. The first thing you do is you file a civil suit immediately, right? Never, ever a civil suit, right? So it's like, what is going on? Immediately, all those things throw up all these flags. Then you start to see the behavior, and it's like, and they have stuff we can't see. It's redacted, whatever. It's just so obvious that they tried to shut him down because they thought he was exposing them.
It's interesting you say that because I see a lot in this industry where people come on and they become locals where they just can't handle the criticism, the pressure, but they're putting themselves out there willingly. And there is a psychological aspect to it that's similar to someone. I remember, Sam, when I started like in 2018, I had this weird criminal type guy. He wasn't a physical criminal, but he'll do things like steal credit cards and shit like that. But he was on me, like, and then he started doing his own show. And if anyone put up any criticism, anything, he couldn't handle it. He was so insecure with dealing with this. And that mindset is so odd where they have to react and they can't deal with any type of pressure. and Aiden was giving it to him. The fact that they were utilizing the criminal justice system to have him arrested and try and keep quiet, which never works anyway. It just goes the exact opposite, right? If you just keep trying to shut things down, more open up. And that's the way I approach it with regard to these weird stories. If they come out about me, you have to be able to deal with it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do this job.
Whether you, I mean, and look, they didn't ask for it, right? Like, I think
right.
The thing is, they didn't ask for it. They just got put into the spotlight. So I think that's their argument. But the problem is that, you know, you guys kind of did put yourself in this situation, right? Like, you didn't have to commit perjury. You didn't have to double down. There's so much incriminating stuff here. Like, I don't know. Where do you even start?
Yeah, that's true. Like, I asked for it. I have one stalker, and she's nice. But then, like, every once in a while, she'll make up stories. And, like, even if they're true or not, they just go out there. Like, just be a cool stalker. I welcome it. You're a girl, so you don't appreciate being stalked. But, I mean, guys, we love it.
Oh, that's funny. I hope I never have to deal with being stalked. That sounds like a horrible nightmare.
Well, not really stalked. Just
yeah, no, I knew what you meant.
A supporter, I would say. Yeah.
So we got to take note of this. The Berkshire BS about this. Something about it. The cop prison in Vermont thing, because this is really interesting. I definitely want to know more about this. If that's true, I mean, I've heard that he's gotten in 3 fights prior, one with Eddie Hernandez that everybody knows about, and then I think another one with him at an earlier time. There's definitely evidence that he likes to fight. The question is to what degree. And if this is true, I do think that it does start to paint a picture that is unfavorable to them.
Yeah. That's why, like, it was so weird when you guys were trying to force this whole Colin narrative that you're trying to say that he had this propensity to fight. And then you look at the video and you're like, that kid wouldn't whip anyone's ass at all. It's almost like a slap fight. Okay. Like,
well, but
yeah,
that kid, those were young, though, to be fair. That was Colin when
he was
kid.
17. Yeah, it was 17 when you're claiming that he, for some reason, wanted to attack a 6-foot-something, 45-year-old grown-ass man on a freezing cold day as he's leaving for some reason.
But
it's a weird thing to say, Sam. You have to have a motive.
According to Brian Albert, he's not a small kid. Now, I don't know because I wasn't there. According to Brian Albert, gives you his digits at the time, tells you how big he was. Look, all I'm saying is they are lying, and so is Colin. I cannot tell you what happened that night with Colin Albert, but I can tell you with absolute certainty that he is lying about whatever happened. That's what makes him a suspect. That's the problem with these people. Why didn't he just tell the truth? Who cares how many fights he's been in? If he had nothing to hide, just say that. Just say it. Just say it. Who cares? Who cares how many times you did whatever you did? I don't care if he was doing crystal meth that night. Whatever it is that you were doing, just say it and scream it from the rooftops, because if it didn't involve murdering a police officer, anything but that you're clear.
Like, is there any world where you see that Colin had zero to do with the death of John O'Keefe?
I want so badly to say yes to that. Like, I really do. The problem and my hesitation is the behavior of this whole army of people, both before, during, and after. Like,
so
it's their behavior
in terms of
that
percentage,
makes it suspect.
Give me like percentage. If 100% means 100% means that he did it, he was involved, there's no other alternative. Is that where your mindset is?
What is 50%? Look, but that's what I'm saying. What is involvement?
He could have done it,
mean?
He could have not. I don't know. Maybe he did. Involved means he was there, he saw something happen, attacked John, or left him there, but I don't think he would have that time. So it would have to be that you're claiming that somehow he attacked John
or
while
was
he's
there
leaving.
But I mean, like, there's a big difference. Did he see it? If 100% is he saw it or more, then that's a higher percentage than if 50% is he saw it, 100% is he was the aggressor.
Yeah, it's wild to me that you still keep Colin there. I would say that the other people in the house would have a higher percentage of seeing it, like Bagel, the kids, McCabe's, because they were there.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah. See, I'm really at like 2% that they had anything to do in terms of even knowledge.
Right, I know.
But
I wish
I'm just
I
going
could do
on
that.
evidence.
But that's where I was. That's where I was.
Oh, really?
Like, that's where I was up until not with Colin, but with everybody else. I mean, that's why I had
Gotcha.
them outside, because I didn't want him to be in the house, right? And the
Yeah.
only reason that I can't rule these people out is because of their words and actions. Their words and actions are not that of innocent people. Innocent people do not behave the way that they are. I don't know how else to say it. I would love to rule them out. I would love nothing more than tomorrow for Colin to release his whole cell phone, like, and just release it to the world and be like, see, I really was, haha, I was really at Mike's house. And then my cousin picked me up. See, haha, that would be awesome. Like, please, Colin, if you're listening, do that for us. Would you please? Because this is enough. We would love to rule you out. We don't want to incriminate you in this anymore. And the only reason that any of us do is because you lied, and so did your parents on the witness stand. If that hadn't happened...
No, be honest to Colin. That's not fair to him, because you were told initially that he was involved, and that's confirmation bias.
I don't even care though. But I don't care about what I was told. Like, whether anyone told us anything. Like, I came in after all that, so like I didn't know about Steve Scanlon at the time. I came in right before their testimonies. So like, I think the first testimony I saw was maybe 2 people before Chris. That's where I came into this whole case. It was in the middle of the trial. My sister's like, there's this trial just started. And then I started watching. So I didn't know the backstory at first.
Oh, Jackie got you into this?
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way around.
No, it's all because she likes the like wrongful conviction stuff. So that's what she's more like focused on. Yeah. So that's how she got into it and then brought me in.
Gotcha.
100%.
Gotcha.
But so I didn't know about the Scanlon thing till after. For me, it was, like I said, their words and their behavior. I can't. I wish that I could rule them out.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So when I put up my chart of the 10 possible people, I don't include him on there because there's no evidence that I can say with any degree of credibility that he was literally physically there or had a motive or anything. But he physically wasn't there at the time when they
wait a
rolled
minute.
up.
But so here's the problem. What we have, see, you look at that and say he wasn't there, but actually all we have is evidence that he goes there. There's no actual evidence that he leaves there.
That's not fair. Testimony is evidence. So you have Allie McCabe saying she left. You have her Life 360 data. You have the FBI going through all of their data. I mean, sorry, but like, and also he's calling someone at like 12:30.
Yeah, calling somebody
there.
that lives close to 34 Fairview.
Okay, but the call really doesn't matter so much to me as the fact that he was literally has text messages backing up that he's being picked up. You have to say that those
He
kids
has a
are lying,
screenshot of a text message.
Agree, but we went through why, although it looks invalid, it was.
It doesn't even matter though. It's
valid.
just a screenshot. Like anyone could make a screenshot.
Agreed.
Why not just give us the metadata? Please give us the metadata. Please. I'm begging them. Come up with the metadata. Like, wouldn't you come up with the metadata? Like, at this point, if you are Allie or you are Colin, wouldn't you just release it? Just be like, here,
I don't
everybody.
know, it's hard to prove something that's not true, right? So if you're accused of something, are you going to sit there and any person asking you to prove something, I'm just going to keep showing different things, and they'll say, well, that's not real.
But they didn't.
I don't think
do
the
that
burden
at
is
all.
on him. Well, let's be honest. Your theory goes against who we type into.
I'm not typing, just pressing a button on my coffee warmer.
Do you have a coffee warmer?
Oh, it's the greatest.
I didn't know that was such a
invention.
thing.
It's like it heats, like it keeps your coffee hot. It's the greatest thing
Yeah,
ever.
that's crazy. I never even thought of
I
that.
love it.
Actually, you know what? That was from Larry David did a show on that. Warming the coffee, like I think at the actual coffee houses. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so right now I just don't have it in me in terms of evidence to keep Colin in there. Even the
You don't have to. I mean, look, everybody's entitled to their own. And I get what you're saying about them not wanting to be on the defensive, but they are always on the defensive. So why not just provide evidence? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if what they're saying is true, these poor kids are being tortured all the time. This is what Chris is saying. This kid can't even get out of bed because the world is against him, which is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So then let him prove to the world that he wasn't full of shit, and then we could all move on.
But it's like, in what form do I have to prove this?
I think you already know the answer to this. I mean,
our show?
No,
I do know the
I mean,
answer.
he could do it that way, of course, but you will note. So just the only two people out of that entire group that have ever spoken publicly are Chris and Carrie, right? Unless I'm forgetting somebody. So, but again, that's also, isn't that a little incriminating? Like, why? Why not?
No, it definitely does. I mean, the one person you never see is Brian Higgins. I don't even know what, and obviously Chief Berkowitz, whatever the hell he's hiding. Those two you haven't seen or heard from.
Not for a very long time.
Oh, great. My enemy's back.
South Boston Kev says, I'll confess everything for a big Dunkin' coupon, by the way.
It is funny in the videos. I guess you do see Dunkin' Donuts a lot. Is that like a weird thing in Massachusetts that everyone loves Dunkin'
That's
Donuts?
the home of, do you not know that? Dunkin'
No,
Donuts
I didn't know
was
that.
born in Boston. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
It's a Boston staple.
Where, oh, you know when you see it's so sad, the Ring cameras, that's where it was, where the people were coming up. A lot of them had coffee. I don't know why I get fascinated. People bringing food over, like pizzas over. And then I love seeing like big boxes of food. You got like takeout. Like for some reason that makes me very happy. I don't know why.
Like the water, the things that like the stacks of water they're bringing.
You white people in the fucking water. Like I don't understand why you think that you need bottled water.
I don't know. Who knows?
And then
I guess they had guests.
But I mean, and then the Brita water. Like I don't know what.
I don't know.
The deals with water.
Totally. At JC Music Man sends $4.99. Metadata analysis is so critical. Please upload the original video unaltered so we can determine what, if anything, was altered. Love your work. Absolutely. Oh my God. So here's the thing. I mean, that's what.
Are they talking to me for the? Yeah, I'll put all. I have to do it. So basically, I don't know why I didn't do that. I will. So I think you're referring to the data. Yeah, maybe other people can figure out, the data for the videos. Actually, I'll do that once we get off together. I'll do that, and then I'll try and get the video up. But if everyone else wants to do it. So the goal behind all this, we never gatekeep, at least I don't. Not that I'm getting it. Corey gets the information. But I love everyone analyzing it and putting it out there. And then obviously creating the content. And you have to thank, again, Corey Hopkins. Do you imagine all the hours of content she's created, all the money she's generated by this?
True.
Like, it's like our channel got rejuvenated because of all this. And not that that's the reason she's doing it. It's not. But
no.
Again, thanks to Corey Hopkins for getting basically the entire file. How crazy is that? We would have the whole file for the most part.
I know. It's amazing. She's so amazing.
You were saying that.
She's really amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah. And she's also good at getting documents. You were saying that you think, and Corey thinks, that the defense didn't even have all the stuff that she got.
Yeah, not for trial one. Not for
Okay.
the first trial, right? So, and that's a really big question. Like, before trial one, I know that it was maybe 2 months after they got the Fed dump, they were allowed to postpone for 1 month, which pushed it back from like a March 1st to like an April 1st start. I might be wrong on that, but I think that's close, because they got this TUI, document dump or whatever. Now, I don't know exactly what the differences were in terms of how much of what they got and that they ended up using came from one or the other. But I know that like the video stuff was impossible to get. And if you go back and listen to all the arguments, the motions, I have to tell you, I'm very grateful that I wasn't, because I think I would have not made it to trial. I would have had to give up on this case. Watching those fights, they were brutal. They were brutal.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Yannetti was, I'll tell you, that was like one place where he really stepped up and he shined in some of those speeches and some of those fights. But he can be a boss. Like when he goes after Caitlyn, I don't think I remembered that. And I went back recently and I watched him towards the end of her cross-examination. He was a boss with her. It was like some highlight moments right there. Cause yeah, I mean, she's the worst. What a freaking, anyway. Missed 870 sends $5. Colin is the one they're trying to protect. He was the hot-headed drunk. It happened fast, and he had no fear because he had backup in an audience. I mean, this is why I think, Mr. G, this is why people are running to this, because they can see it, because Colin is impulsive, because Colin is a drunk, and because it explains in a swoop the behavior of the people in the house, that they would never take responsibility and just say it was, self-defense, because they went in immediately to protect Colin mode.
Or they didn't know,
This is-
or they're just trying to protect themselves. You have to be realistic that there's a great chance they had no idea what was going on, and they had no idea what the hell Brian Higgins and Brian Albert were up to. And if I'm Brian Albert
Who's
or
they?
Brian Higgins, they is the rest of the people in that house. I am not telling any of those dopes what happened.
I know,
if
but
I'm Higgins.
I know you don't like this, and I didn't either. So I completely understand the resistance to wanting anybody in that house to have seen it. Like I really do. I fought with every ounce of my being that idea, like, because I could not get it into this. Talk about confirmation bias. I could not imagine that it was possible that Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson, that they would all be lying. Like I could not imagine it. But at the end of the day, like to your point, I had to watch and let the evidence, what I'm seeing in front of me, tell me what happened and not interfere. And when I do that, John O'Keefe walked into that house. I can't tell you what happened after, but he did. And those two, Julie and Sarah, are absolutely full of shit about it. And again, I know I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying that because for me, I fought it up until like a month ago when it just became so obvious that they're lying. And like, I could not fight it anymore.
Yeah, and I'll say this.
It was a fight.
Don't assume that I don't feel the same way, by the way. I had my eyes opened by you and you pointing out Julie Bagel on that bench. And then it hit me that these aren't just technically innocent girls that are just random like the people in the F-150. They're different. So they could. I'm not saying they're did, but they could. And I never put them in that category until I had to really study it. But I have no evidence to say that they knew. But I'm not in the camp that they couldn't have known and couldn't keep their mouth shut. I believe you in what you're saying now with regard to they could have. And they would want to. They would do it willingly, which is another thing.
They would do it willingly.
Right, you're right. Yeah. Like, if you're Heather, you're not going to do shit for any of these people. You don't give a shit about them, right? Like you're not even dating Ryan anymore. So it's like, yeah, it's a total different category, so don't think that I'm so bullheaded on that issue.
I don't think you are. I think you're, my sense of the way that, like, you are taking it kind of like piece by piece and going through the evidence, and that's what you're supposed to do, and that's what I would want anybody to do in this case. There's an enormity of evidence, and a lot of this, like Jen McCabe is a good example. I spent an enormous amount of time on her a long time ago, so I only go back now because I feel like, wait, why did I come to this conclusion? But the conclusion wasn't just random, like it wasn't pulled out of thin air. It came from hours and hours of going through the evidence. So I would encourage anyone, please go through the evidence. That's why it's there. Now that we have it, go through it for yourself. If you have questions, go through it yourself, check it out. And with that, I think we can probably wrap it up. This is a good time to do that. Where can people go if they don't know to get to the Google?
Yes. So it's Corey Hopkins' Twitter X account.
What is the name of that account? Do you remember?
Hot blonde lesbian.
No, that's not it.
Oh, no. It isn't? Are you sure?
No. Very sure.
Hot blonde lesbian that I wish it wasn't a lesbian, I think.
No.
Yeah, the reason and the reason why I don't link it, Sam, is like sometimes YouTube, this is back in the day, like if you linked external, even though it's still the same company, and perhaps you're linking to private information or public information that is personal. So that's why I don't link it. And that's why I'm not being coy about it. You just have to go to Corey Hopkins, let her get in trouble from X. She won't get in any trouble.
I'm just trying to figure out how to get there so that people can do it.
Yeah,
because I know I had trouble finding it.
Madberry v.
Hold on, I'm looking right now. I'll get it. I'm gonna get
case,
it.
Supreme
it's
Court
Mad
case
Mar.
or
Is it Mad Marby? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Marby. I think it is, but let me just find it for you, everybody. Yes, it's Marbury versus Mad.
Oh yeah,
is what it is. MARBURY.MAD MAD. That is where you can find the Google Drive. I will put it somewhere too on my pages so people can find it easier, because I know that it's so frustrating when you can't get to it, when you can't access it. I have it saved now on my thing, but what are you going to be, before we go, what are you going to be working on now? What are you working on now with this case?
I don't know. It's so weird how things come up like day by day. I'm still going through the information that we have, the videos, the audio, and I want to sort of piece that together. I don't know. You're putting me on the spot here. And I'm an artist. Things have to come to me naturally. I don't just plan it out.
Well, and things do come up naturally too, to be fair.
Oh, they
right?
do. Trust
they
me.
do.
I've been telling Corey that every day, but she still likes women.
At JC Music Man 1999, speaking of the defense not getting all the files pre-trial, after seeing Lally deposed by Brian Walsh's attorney, I bet Lally was put on Karen's case because he's so bad at making people turn over everything. You know what? That's a pretty good point, that they kind of knew that they could just like push him around. Yeah.
It is cool to have such a lackadaisical attitude towards anything, and that's why I love Lally, and I always will. And you're right.
You're right.
They don't get any more money or less money by being diligent in their work. They just don't. And if they lose the case, so what? I mean, like, life goes on. Their job and life doesn't change at all. It's beautiful the way they get to operate. So yeah, and you come up and you make an excuse, and if you get in trouble, so what? All you have to do is turn over documents.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, but I bet you he hates the spotlight, because there's no question that anywhere that man goes now, people know who he is. I mean, he's famous in his town.
I freaking
no
love
question.
him. I just
There's
love
no
him
question.
so much.
He is no longer a low-profile figure, though, in the town that he lives in. I don't know if he lives in Canton proper or just outside, but he's local, and he is a huge celebrity now, which I'm sure drives him a little crazy. Well, I just want everybody to know, so that it's clear, I am going to be working on the Lank analysis. That is my next project, so don't worry, it's coming, and hopefully we'll get some answers. I think we will. I have put together all of the footage that we have from Corey, from all of the cop cameras, and I think we have a pretty good sense of his whereabouts. So I will get on that. And
Are you sure we answered all the questions and your members? And
we
everything?
did. We've got everybody. That's why I'm.
And Manscaping said you better play the entire video, otherwise we're not paying us.
Oh wait, we have two more. Let me read these. Thank you, Jen's dog Jonas since 1999,
Thank you, Jen.
and then we have two new members. Yay! Thanks, Fiona Houston 2140. And Mayor of Sleuthtown. I love Mayor of Sleuthtown. That's an awesome name. Welcome, you guys. We are so happy to have you. I guess, Vince, I don't have it anymore. I don't have the link. I closed it out.
No. I've worked so hard on that. It's
all
in your
right.
email.
I have it right now. Okay.
You're like frozen. Oh, yeah. I think we're both frozen, but yeah. Oh, I'm not.
Hold on. I'm getting it right now. I'm here. Can you hear me?
It's not that bad. It's just your dad doing his pitch. But then we have there's other stuff. Plus, I love that
all right,
song.
I'm going to play.
When they lift Lally, first of all, when they lift Lally on up, I can run so fast. I can go up to like 6.3 on the treadmill when I see that. I just love the guy. So I love the fact that he can gloat like this too. I love him. All right,
I
Sam,
love it too.
I'll see
the
you.
song
Are
is
we back to
amazing.
Monday? Wait, so today's Friday. So what are we doing?
Are we doing Monday? Monday.
We have to go back to our
Gotta
Monday
do
nooner.
Monday.
So we'll be back quick then.
Monday at noon. We'll see you guys hopefully there. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Vince, enjoy your weekend. And I'm going to play this halftime video in its entirety for
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Bye. I cut him off by accident. That wasn't on purpose. Sorry, Vince. I didn't mean to cut you off like that. Bye. Because I was trying to play his video, which I didn't end up doing successfully. Here it is, just for him. Okay. Here we go, guys. This was what I was supposed to play during halftime. Everybody have a great weekend. See you on Monday.
Halftime with Sam and Loophole.
I've been biting my tongue for so long. Fuck you, Hank. Think you're better than me. Fuck you, Hank. You are not Lally. Fuck you, Hank. Think you're better than me. Fuck you, Hank. But why don't we see? I'm a basic kind of guy. I really don't need a flaunt. Smoking 6 packs a day and I'm happy as a hog. All I do is mumble. Do I really need any lungs? The trial one jury was just like me. They were hung. Trial 2 came around and you wanna bench me? Not one guilty vote was embarrassing to see. Need to remind you that my jury was 9-3. Take your little OUI and get about the scene. Fuck you, Hank, Hank. Think you're better than me? Fuck you, Hank. You are not Lolly. Fuck you, Hank. Think you're better than me? Fuck you, Hank. Well, why don't we see? Oh, I know what will get us the win. Ask Rich about his fucking ham sandwich again. That'll prove this beyond all reasonable doubt. Oh, who am I kidding? This shit is around.
It appears that I made a mistake.
You took this case so damn personally, and I hold that opinion to a scientific certainty. You weasel face up at Arkham Major P. Even with all the help you got from Beverly. Standing ovation. What a robust cross. Psych. Your nerdy ass looks so fucking lost. Just think, $500,000 was all it cost to get our asses kicked in the fucking law. Fuck you, hey, hey. Think you're better than me? Fuck you. You are not lolly. Fuck you, Hank. Think you're better than me? Fuck you. Well, why don't we see? Why don't we see? Hey. Waiting for your response, Maggie. Yeah.
Did I mention my jury was also hung?
And now here's a word from our sponsor.
Manscaped 5.0 Ultra, the ultimate upgrade. Nothing says anything like a perfectly groomed package. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I say this all the time, John. Even though it really isn't real, it gives you the illusion of extra inches. There's not one guy I know that doesn't want extra inches. I mean, let's be real about it.
They're not getting a better advertisement than this for anybody else, Joe.
I've said this for years. I should be a national spokesman for Manscaped.
Samantha, Loophole, get back on air. Talk Karen Reed, Higgy Bear, and those freshly shaved balls.
We need to get back live right now. We're talking Karen, we're talking Higgy Bear, and we are talking shaved balls.
Get back live. Talk Karen Reed, Higgy Bear, Mr. B's balls.
You got it, coach.
We're on it. All right, hands in the middle.
1, 2, 3.
Mr. B shaved balls, go! Hey!
It is the defense counselor's duty to protect the rights of the individual, as it is the prosecution's duty to uphold and defend the laws of the state. Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.